जाती है कि वो स्टैंडर्ड के हिसाब से है कि नहीं। बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू पीपल, व्हेन इट कम्स टू पर्सन्स, व्हेन इट कम्स टू प्रोसेसेस, व्हेन इट कम्स टू ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, वो थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है। और उसमें भी आपको सोचना पड़ता है कि कौन सा मेथड ज्यादा इफेक्टिव रहेगा। आपको अगर एग्जांपल दूं तो जहां हम ट्रेडिशनल हीलर का सर्टिफिकेशन कर रहे हैं, आपको आगे बताया जाएगा कि उसके प्रोसेस जब सोचा कि इसका प्रोसेस क्या होना चाहिए सर्टिफाई करने का, तो कंसिडरिंग द रिस्क कि ये ट्रेडिशनल हीलर है, ये क्वालिफाइड डॉक्टर्स नहीं है, तो उसमें इंटरव्यू भी रखा गया। रिटन टेस्ट नहीं रखा गया कि पढ़े लिखे हों या ना हो पता नहीं, पर इंटरव्यू बातचीत तो कर ही सकेंगे। इंटरव्यू भी रखा गया, एक प्रैक्टिकल डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन भी रखा गया, उनके प्रैक्टिस स्टेशन पे जाके उनको ऑब्जर्व करना ये भी रखा गया। इवैल्यूएशन पैनल गोज राइट अप टू वेयर दे आर प्रैक्टिसिंग। जबकि जीसीपी का जब सिस्टम सेटअप किया तो जीसीपी की नॉलेज काफी स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड है, अगर उसमें उस स्किल की कोई आवश्यकता नहीं है, तो उसको जो है सिर्फ टेस्ट से ही किया जा सकता है। तो दूसरा जो पिलर है उसको मैं कह रहा था कि ये पिलर है सर्टिफिकेशन प्रोसेस का, इवैल्यूएशन प्रोसेस का, जो रोबस्ट होना चाहिए। वो भी एक अच्छा स्टैंडर्ड और एक खराब प्रोसेस विल डिलीवर ए बैड क्वालिटी। एक खराब स्टैंडर्ड इन एनी केस विल डिलीवर ए बैड क्वालिटी। और तीसरा है कॉम्पिटेंस ऑफ द पीपल और द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, वो जो इवैल्यूएशन कैरी आउट करे, वो भी बहुत आवश्यक है कि जो लोग इवैल्यूएशन करेंगे उनके पास वो कॉम्पिटेंस होनी चाहिए, चाहे वो आयुर्वेदा है, चाहे ट्रेडिशनल हीलिंग की नॉलेज है। तो वो कॉम्पिटेंस, जैसे मेरे जैसे लोग तो जो है वो एक न्यूट्रल फील्ड से आते हैं, ना आयुर्वेदा की नॉलेज है ना ट्रेडिशनल हीलिंग की नॉलेज है, पर डॉक्टर अनुपम जैसे हैं आयुर्वेदा के स्पेशलिस्ट हैं, डॉक्टर थिरुनारायणन वैसे तो सिद्धा के स्पेशलिस्ट हैं जो आज हमारे एक स्पीकर हैं, पर ट्रेडिशनल हीलिंग में उनका बहुत कंट्रीब्यूशन। और हमारे ट्रेडिशनल हीलिंग के वैल्यूएशन में आयुर्वेदा या सिद्धा के डॉक्टर्स भी शामिल हैं। दैट गिव्स इट मोर क्रेडिबिलिटी ऑल्सो इन ए वे कि भाई जो इवेल्युएट कर रहे हैं उसमें डॉक्टर्स और आयुर्वेदा के डॉक्टर्स या सिद्धा के डॉक्टर्स भी शामिल हैं। तो ये 3 पिलर्स पे अच्छा स्टैंडर्ड, अच्छा इवेल्युएशन या सर्टिफिकेशन प्रोसेस, और एक कॉम्पिटेंट एजेंसी या ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो उनको इवेल्युएट करे। इन 3 पिलर्स पे मेरा एक्सपीरियंस ये है इतने साल जो मैंने काम किया, कि किसी भी फील्ड में मुझे बता दें और मैं इस तरह का सिस्टम बनाने को तैयार हूँ। मुझे एक्सपर्ट्स दे दें उस फील्ड के। अभी आज ही मैंने एक मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कल्चर में एक मीटिंग अटेंड की जहाँ पे वो सोवेनियर्स के लिए सिस्टम बना रहे हैं कि एक अच्छे सोवेनियर्स जो हमारे मॉन्यूमेंट्स में मिलते हैं उनकी क्वालिटी अच्छी हो और उन ऑथेंटिक हो, उसके लिए एक सिस्टम बनाया जाए। तो अब मैं एक नए फील्ड में जा रहा हूँ कि सोवेनियर्स के क्वालिटी कैसे एस्टेब्लिश की जाएगी और ऑथेंटिसिटी कैसे एस्टेब्लिश की जाएगी। तो बस इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ जस्ट टू एक्सप्लेन द प्रिंसिपल्स, कि इन प्रिंसिपल्स पे किसी भी फील्ड में एक अच्छा सिस्टम बनाया जा सकता है। बिल्कुल एक्सपर्ट्स की जरूरत है, जो डोमेन एक्सपर्ट्स हो। 2 तरह के एक्सपर्ट्स की जरूरत है। एक डोमेन एक्सपर्ट्स जो उस फील्ड के एक्सपर्ट हो, चाहे वो ट्रेडिशनल हीलर्स हो, चाहे वो योगा एक्सपर्ट्स हो, चाहे वो आयुर्वेद के एक्सपर्ट्स हो, चाहे वो जीसीपी के एक्सपर्ट्स हो। और दूसरा कुछ मेरी तरह के एक्सपर्ट्स जो एक्रेडिटेशन सर्टिफिकेशन फील्ड की नॉलेज रखते हैं, स्टैंडर्ड्स कैसे बनेंगे, कैसा होना चाहिए, कैसे लिखा जाएगा, सर्टिफिकेशन क्या सॉल्यूशंस हैं, कितने तरह के मॉडल्स पॉसिबल हैं, कौन सा सॉल्यूशन इसमें ज्यादा अच्छा रहेगा। इन 2 फील्ड्स को मैरी करता हूँ। मैं पिछले 10 साल से यही काम कर रहा हूँ, शायद जब से मैंने पहली स्कीम क्रिएट की, जो कि सेक्रेटरी आयुष के कहने पर, डॉक्टर अनुपम को याद होगा, सेक्रेटरी जलजा के कहने पर आयुष मार्क स्कीम सबसे पहले हमने स्टार्ट की थी 2009 में। तब से कम 15 स्कीम्स में मैं शामिल रहा हूँ और यही मैरिज करता रहा हूँ कि डोमेन एक्सपर्ट्स, अच्छे डोमेन एक्सपर्ट्स और अच्छे कंफॉर्मिटी असेसमेंट, मैं ये कहूँगा कंफॉर्मिटी असेसमेंट एक्सपर्ट्स जैसे डॉक्टर राणा भी हैं, इनकी मैरिज कर दीजिए तो यू कैन गेट ए गुड आउट। और वही आउटपुट आज आपसे शेयर करेंगे एक आयुर्वेदा ट्रेनिंग में, जो बिल्कुल ही नया इनिशिएटिव है, अभी रिसेंटली स्टार्ट हुआ है। और दूसरा ट्रेडिशनल हीलर्स का, जो कि 2017 से ऑन है, 5 साल हो गए, पर अभी भी उसको मतलब अभी यही कहेंगे कि अभी फ्लेजलिंग किया। तो इन शब्दों के साथ बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर शर्मा कि आपने एग्री किया कि इस तरह का वेबिनार किया जाए। और मुझे बड़ी खुशी है कि ये 2 इनिशिएटिव जहां मैं भी रहा हूं उसके बड़े अच्छे एक्सपर्ट्स सब ने हाँ कहा और सब यहाँ पे हैं, और अब आगे उनसे सुनते हैं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर आपका कि आपने मार्गनिर्देशन के लिए टॉप मोस्ट अथॉरिटीज को हमसे इंट्रोड्यूस कराया। मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं सभी का, आपका तो विशेषकर, क्योंकि आज की वेबिनार आपके लिए ही संभव हुई है। नाउ आई वुड लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट डॉक्टर बीके राणा, who is the CEO of Quality and Accreditation Institute, QAI. Prior to current assignment, he was Director and CEO in charge of NABH, QCI. He served as a board member of the International Society for ASQua, ISQua, External Evaluation Association also. He served as board member of International Society for Quality in Healthcare. So he is the chairman of Documentation Review Committee, member of Complaint and Appeal Committee of National GLP Compliance Monitoring Authority, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. So without wasting much time, we are eager to listen him for his expertise, guidance, valuable guidance for all of us, because our platform is blessed with Kashmir to Karnataka, Goa to Guwahati, and I welcome Dr. Harish Verma, who is running an Institute of Ayurveda in Canada. So I welcome him also. So really you have made these webinars important. Thank you, Rana ji. Swagatam. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sharma ji. Thank you very much for kind invitation and kind introduction. Really honored to be amongst this gathering of luminaries and dignitaries coming from different background. And this is very interesting, as Jauhri sir mentioned, bringing different people unki marriage kara do sir. Sir, marriage badi mushkil se hoti hai, and he is already involved in getting things done. So it's really a great privilege for me also to be present. But just in a sort of convenient, Dr. Sharma, and if Mr. Jauhri agree, I don't know whether if we can get Dr. Anupam before me to introduce things, and then I can take up. What do you feel on that?
That will be better, Sharma ji, कि डॉक्टर अनुपम जो है एक ओवरव्यू दे दें और उसके बाद डॉक्टर राणा जो है accreditation स्टैंडर्ड के बारे में बात करेंगे।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
So ऐसा कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि हम लोग आयुर्वेदा ट्रेनिंग कोर्स की बात करने जा रहे हैं, तो मैं स्टैंडर्ड क्या है, वो उसका क्या फ्रेमवर्क बनाया है जिस पे एक्रेडिटेशन हो रहा है। तो अनुपम जी आप जरा थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन करा दीजिए पहले, क्या कर रहे हैं।
मैं अनुपम जी का स्वागत करता हूं, मेरे मित्र हैं वर्षों से, और उसके बाद आज डायरेक्टर है राष्ट्रीय आयुर्वेद विद्यापीठ के। इनके बाद आने के बाद राष्ट्रीय आयुर्वेद विद्यापीठ की इतनी एक्टिविटीज बढ़ी। रियली वी आर प्राउड ऑफ राष्ट्रीय आयुर्वेद विद्यापीठ। वेलकम डॉक्टर अनुपम।
Thank you, Sharma ji. Thank you for the golden words, our platinum words for RAV. And yes, I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, I am thankful to Ministry itself who has given me responsibility for this work. And thank you. Sorry. So first of all, while welcoming all the experts who has joined this platform, and it is really an opportunity to RAV to present what we are doing and to sharing the wider community and the eminent experts, eminent participants, not from the country, across the border also. And yes, we all aware that Ayurveda is definitely somehow Ayurveda and other systems, these Indian systems of medicine are crossing the borders. And there has been resurgence in interest in this system of medicine. So many reasons are there about cost effectiveness, comparatively safer, and blah blah blah. There's so many things. I think we are all aware. Considering these all, and there had been we can witness. I'm just coming on the topic. We can witness there's a number of the institutions they are mushrooming on the name of the Ayurveda in the country and across also. And interest is there, supply side is there, but the quality, the substantial matter, the deliverables, and what not is somehow suboptimal. And there has been persistent demand from the overseas also to the ministry for making some kind of accreditation, some kind of certification, some kind of recognition also to these courses, specifically from across the border. Taking this all in cognizance, Ministry notified RAV, which is a National Academy of Ayurveda, and an autonomous institution under the ministry, which look after basically for informal system of the teaching, and we are also we are the nodal point for CMEs and all that education system, implanting and enhancing the quality education. So we had been notified by the Gazette of India. Rohit, could you show please? Next slide. Yes, these are the how the Ayurveda is globally expanding. And this, yes, it is all about what we are in taught. So we had been notified as agency because, please come on those quickly. This was a Gazette notification where we have been given a responsibility of the accreditation of the various courses which are done across the country. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah, not for this purpose, ministry. I will just like to brief you very quickly. Ministry developed a core committee, or you call a committee of expertise from like Anil ji, expertise like Rana ji, Mr. Colonel Dheer, experts from outside India also, Deepika ma'am, experts from Professor Neeta ma'am, and there was many experts, and probably this committee, including RAV, this committee met many a times, more than 100 hours was spent, and this came up with some workable model as a theme for these courses, and also which indirectly to institutions also. And this scheme has been defined in a manner that it is a voluntary scheme. This is accreditation scheme, and this, as per the notification, their notification also speaks about a board has to be constituted, and also it speaks how to, for the implementation of this scheme, ATAB board has been constituted. Our technical and accreditation board has been created, which will look after all the activities of the accreditation. And this scheme has designed in a manner that it is a voluntary, institutions are free to adopt. Yes, the purpose was that it is only for those courses which are not covered in any regulatory mechanism or under any regulatory body. We are aware in a country exists, earlier it was CCIM, now it is NCIM. It looks after the formal courses, and across the border, as such, there is the regulatory bodies and the regulation of these courses. Some are not there, or it is not formally recognized. These courses are not formally recognized in those countries whom it is being operated or whom it is run. So since it is a voluntary scheme, it is not regulation. It is definitely out of the typical inspection model. We have drafted in a manner so that acceptability is more. And it is definitely the expectations are like that. It will bring the uniformity. Not only the uniformity, but standardization of what the curricula is being taught or being provided to the international community. Because we are witnessing there are many institutions across the world whom are teaching, say, we are offering the courses, say 100 hours of teaching that includes the contact hour, practical demonstration and all. And let's give you Panchkarma expert or something Prakriti experts. So for this purpose, we have tried to make a standardization of the Ayurveda, some most courses which are more in demand. And we have also made a provision, yes, being a custodian of this scheme, we will not taking any examination. These are the basically salient features which I am trying to explain you. We can jump quickly next slide also. And this will be free, and the institutions who are conducting the scheme are free to adopt, to design, or to follow the pattern. The pattern as per the convenience, as per the demand of that country where it is being implemented. And the institutions are free to adopt RAV standard courses. At this point of time, I would like to share, yes, this we have developed a certain courses, certain standard courses, which could be adopted, and we will show you later on. And these standard courses, which is adopted by the institutions, will be provide a credit scores, which could help for its future purposes for the candidate who's of taking the course will get a credit scores for that, and that will serve the future purpose also. It is not, again, I would like to emphasize on the last line on the slide, it is not a graduate or doctor course, and it is for the dissemination of the knowledge and understanding of the better Ayurveda. And you all are aware that the power of the practice or the legality of the practice is being done, it come under the ambit of the institution, which is in the institution where it is being by that country's regulation provision. If the country power of the practice is given by that country where the course is being offered. So it doesn't enables you, or it doesn't supersedes any regulatory provision which is being carried out in that country. Next, please. Next, please, Rohit. Yeah, the scheme has 3 levels, or you may call the scheme is divided in 3 parts. We have named the scheme as a quality enhancement initiative of Ayurveda training courses. This is basic. We are making a terminology, the quality enhancement. The purpose, what the institutions are already running. I would like to clarify this point of time. It is enhancement. There has been a huge demand from the persons from across the border in the country also who has come to RAV with a request, yes, we are going to start the course, and these are the accreditation or something, give us a listing what is coming in different levels. So no, it is not like that. The institutions already running the courses, or institution already started the teaching would be considered here. Level 1, what it is a listing of Ayurveda training courses on RAV website. We have given a provision to the institutions who could list themselves on RAV website. Yes, these are the courses. It is a simple listing. It is basically the purpose of this listing is scaling the reach of the Ayurveda across the border. And it also like we will also in a position to see what is being offered, and though we are aware, but it will give it will also give the opportunity to institution to show themselves, yes, we have been listed on the website, which is under the control of the Government of India, Ministry of Ayush. And another level 2, this is for 1 year. After once this is completed, the institution, the person could jump to the next level, that is self-declaration of the conformity of the basic accreditation standards. Thereupon, the self-declaration, RAB has defined the models, defined the criterions. The institution has to define itself, yes, we are confirming those standards which has been defined by the document which is available on the website also. Yes, we follow this criteria. We are in the conformity with those. Here, the first stage 1, what I was talking earlier, RAV does not intervene on this. But here we have different is this, that we have this kind of criteria. We have the RAV has a right. We can examine and we can report to the institution self-declaration. Yes, you are not forming. And the third is a formal accreditation standards, which is been termed as basic standards for the Ayurveda, and this is a level 3. And this any training provider is free to opt any of the level, but for here to follow the timelines. You have, if you are level 1, then you have to follow time level 2 and level 3 accordingly. Next, please. The listing is to create what I said, inventory of the training courses available globally, ultimating to bringing them in the framework of the formal accreditation. Yes, it will indicate the spread. Next, please. Self-declaration, opportunity to training provider to access themselves against the prescribed standard. Yes, we have right here to verify the credentials as needed, as defined by the RAV. Next, please. And yes, the basic accreditations courses, and it's also for the training providers. This is an opportunity for the training providers to have a formal assessment process, opting the accreditation for their courses under our accreditation standards, which has been developed by the ATAB board, which is being run under the RAV. Yeah. Yeah, basic standards. It has been defined with a 44th objective criteria in a 10 main chapters. These chapters all vision, organization, financial resources, human resources, infrastructure, evaluation mechanism, quality improvement, learning resources. This my learned friend, my learned colleague, friend, and member of this entire process, Dr. B.K. Rana is there. He will talk in detail on these courses. That will be definitely enlightening us with his experience and in detail also. So this has been divided in 10 main chapters for the following 44 objective criteria. Next. This is a basic. We have tried to call out the process flow in a concise manner. Choose a level. You choose a level. We start from the first list on the Ayurveda training courses application with very nominal fees. Here the very nominal fees just for the purpose of registration has been given and listed on our website. Once we receive your this application with the fees listed on our website with the approval of the accreditation committee with a disclaimer. So yes, this is the first step, and this once it is done, it will we will communicate to the training provider. Yes, it has been uploaded on our website also. And second level is the self-declaration of the conformity to the basic accreditation standard. This is level 2, where a certain fees application with the fees is again submitted to be listed on our website with the self-declared training providers on approval of the accreditation. Again, the accreditation committee, which has been already constituted, will look after, and this will be communicated to the training providers. Yes, here at a point of time, if we feel there is some deviation from the standards or some what accreditation basic standards are there, then we have right. RAV has right to any institution to delist him at any point of time. Yes, we can hear, we can examine, we can see what is being done, what has been claimed, whether it follows or not. Then again, the institution could come down to the third level. This is a formal basic accreditation standard. Here, this is a accreditation mechanism, application with substantial fees. That is again very nominal. The document review process has to be done. The document review process will be done at the level of the Secretariat of the ATAB, and we will look after whether it is related to Ayurveda, because we all appreciate there is a number of institutions across the border which are also running Ayurveda and some other courses also, or somehow they are treating other courses or the herbal courses which are not Ayurveda courses as the Ayurveda courses. So the document review process, we will see whether these are related or not related to Ayurveda, or they are insufficient. Then we will communicate back to the training provider to resubmit it. Once it is again resubmitted, the related Ayurveda is, if it is sufficient, again it is done and it is sufficient enough, then we will go for the office assessment and followed by the witness assessment. Very important point of this, at current point of time, the witness assessment could be in physical mode or hybrid mode or the virtual mode as per the need, as per the condition allowed, and as per the feasibility. And this again the grant accordingly, once it is done, then the grant of the accreditation of the approval through accreditation committee will be done, and the accreditation has to be issued. There will be surveillance assessment will be also done after that. And this point of time, I would like to share also, yes, to start with, RAV has taken this work as its own level as accreditation body. In a passage of the time, when the more accreditation certification bodies comes, it would be implemented in a third-party model. It was to bring more transparency and to making it more feasible and pragmatic manner. Next, please. Yes, very quickly, standard course content, what RAV has developed are various topics which are more in demand, and standard course content, minimum course subject content, and training providers opt to add the relevant topic as per syllabus, as per need, but these are the basic standard which needs to be followed. Believe me, which have called out all the various courses, including WHO also, and various parts of the world, which is being taught by the different institutions for the Ayurveda. We have taken the leads. We have made the standard course. Next, please. Initially, we have developed the following topics, and more could be added as per the request, because what we found key basic principles of Ayurveda, this is for the basic knowledge of the Ayurveda, Panchkarma, Ayurveda beauty, Ayurveda mathematics, Ayurveda Marma therapy, and certification course on Ayurveda health counselors also. These are we have tried to make Ayurveda courses in the 3 levels: 200-hour course and 200 plus 500-hour course and 800-hour course. These are the 100 hours course for the purpose, for the ease of understanding. 200 course will be introductory course, whereas the 500 and 800 will be proficiency and higher proficiency courses. Here I would like to say that higher proficiency course could be taught to the doctors also. It could be taught to any medical practitioner across the country, but higher proficiency course has much more defined syllabus and all that, which could allow to better understanding for the practice of the purpose of the practice, if the country where he or she adopts as following the regulation of that country, in the ambit of that regulation, if it comes, this gives you a better understanding and a better curricula for the Ayurveda. Next, please. This we have tried to make just to further understanding. The theory hours are in blue, in a painted what you call ash color, and there's a practical hours in this in orange, and this in 100. So this can all 200. This hours has been described 200, and here these are the we have demarcated the theory, practical, and self-study hours. Next, please. This I would like to operationalize the scheme. To operationalize the scheme, we have made the 5 components. Yes, the executive board that has been as per the notification, and executive boards consisting of experts and administrators of Ayurveda will look after oversee of the various activities and appeal panels and name speech for the appeal for an accreditation committee that will look after the accreditation, and definitely the technical committee which defines the syllabus, which examines the syllabus and defines the technical content, and the secretariat which lies definitely with RAV to look after all procedural work. Next, please. This is the organogram. Executive board is the highest, which will be supported by the appeal committee, and there are the 3 arms are here: accreditation committee, technical committee. Technical committee could sub-opt subcommittees also. Similarly, secretariat, which will be held by the panel of the experts, assessors. We are sooner defining the assessors who could assess as per this thing. Next, please. These are the executive powers of the executive board. This is independent in nature. It will guide, suggest, ATAB secretariat. I would like to share you this ATAB board. ATAB board is currently with the financial support of the Ministry of Ayush through RAV. It is housed under RAV. It has got its autonomy in a functioning. Financially, yes, we are being supported financially by the Ministry of Ayush. Hopefully, for a couple of years to come, once it is a financial self-sustainable, then it will be fully independent in its activity. The board there will to make it more transparency, to bringing in more clarity, to bringing in any partialism. It will be independent in nature. ATAB board will be independent in nature. Currently, we are financially supported by the Ministry of Ayush to RAV, and this executive board, as per the notification, shall guide, give suggestion to ATB secretariat to conduct, define the compromise, and this executive board may appoint subcommittees for such purposes. This all details are available on our website also. Next, please. This all functionings of the board has been made. Technical committee is to advise letting the standards of the accreditation and certification scheme to be adopted for Ayurveda courses, centers. Yes, centers and institution and professional, that needs to also be to. We have to be very focused on these, how the course contents is being delivered. Not only the course, how it is being delivered, what is the mechanism available. It will also advise the criteria of accreditation Ayurveda courses, to advise the modification of grading of standards, syllabi as per the need, as per the demand also, if found suitable. and advise the accreditation process for the training institutions, courses in India, abroad. These are the functionings of the technical committees. Next, please. Next. Rohit, next, please.
Accreditation, sir, it is.
So these are basically, these are the appeal panel. Deliberation, the disposal of appeals, if comes made by the training providers against any decision related to accreditation. Because what will happen in due course of time, what would be making this completely in ISO's third-party model. So definitely it could be chances. Yes, could we have a we could have the appeal about the functioning, then the appeal panel will look after. Next, please. So these are the secretariat which has been planned. Definitely CEO will look after, will be headed by this, will head the secretariat, and admin officer which is available at RAV will look after this. Consultants are there for accreditation and consult on admin, finance, IT consultant, and this all supporting staff. So with this frugal staff we are running as per the needs. We could enhance this function. We all understand this is managing the entire accreditation process, assessment resources, organize the meeting, maintenance the record, all we call the secretarial work related to this entire scheme and award will be maintained by this board, secretariat of this board. Next, please. This is all in very quick brief. I tried to sum up as soon as quicker way, and if not, it requires a lot of deliberations. Yes, we deliberated with the national institute, with the help of national institute, with research councils. Yet there is always chance of improvement in the scheme as per the need, as per your advices, as per your wisdom. And my next speaker, Mr. Rana, I hope he will explain in more detail about the vision and mission of all the standards also. And definitely it will be supported by the Jauhri ji's experts view. I'm thankful. I'm great also for the Dr. Sharma giving a chance to share this all activity. Basically, I'm a hardcore Ayurveda expert, not expert, I'm a scholar of Ayurveda. I'm looking after different verbs. But definitely a lot of improvement needs to be done. To me, I always say this two lines. First, give me one more second, Dr. Rana. Many a platform I have said, and this I use this as my tagline. A lot of improvement is needed. Woods are Robert Frost. 1, 2, 4, 3 lines are there. Woods are lovely, dark and deep. Yes, I have promises to keep, and mice to go ahead before I sleep. So yes, there are a lot of works needs to be done. A lot of works required. Your inputs, your suggestions, and this all what I am talking about is all available on RAV website. So if I fail to explain something, if I am not able to deliver those things, you please visit our website, write to us. I assure you we are available. We will respond to you within 24 hours. To all the experts, with due regards, thank you for your precious listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anupam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anupam. Thank you very much for wonderfully. You have not failed anywhere. You have very successfully explained from start to the finish things. Very well done. Thank you so much for laying out the foundation of this webinar on this. So what Anupam has briefly talked about, the framework of standards for accreditation, I will just talk about it in a little more detail. So let me take it through. So as Anupam mentioned that for granting accreditation, the committee has developed basic set of standards for basic accreditation based on specified requirements. We call it standards. And there is a process, as Anupam described, the process to go for that. So in the standards framework, the standards are characterized, comprised of 10 chapters. And the 10 chapters are actually further, what you call bifurcated into objective elements, which are measurable elements, and they are 44 in number. So this is the framework having 10 different chapters, having, if you look at this 1 to 10, different chapters having different component inbuilt in there, and each one of them has a different number of criteria. So in all, there are 44 criteria. So let's have a little more elaboration. So first chapter is about vision, mission, and objectives, which actually provides direction to any training program, and it's very clearly laid out as the training program which are not covered under regulatory requirement like CCIM, they are actually targeted under this scheme. So the first criteria is that institution. That means wherever the word institution comes, it means the training provider for the specific training course. Institution shall have a clearly defined and documented vision and mission. So there is a clear vision that what they are trying to achieve over a period of time, and then how they would like to attempt that vision through its mission document. And then institutions shall have defined objectives and measure them periodically. So what are the objectives set? And basically objectives are derived from the vision and mission statements, that how you would like to achieve those mission and mission statements. And you define certain objectives which are measurable, which you can measure them. And that's why it says you define them and measure them periodically so that you know where you are going. The institution shall have mentioned activities that are taken to achieve these objectives. So in line with objectives that are set by the institute for itself, they need to have the activities to perform. The institution shall define its quality policy, and the quality policy is in a high level of a statement from the management which provides a direction to the institution in terms of its quality driven process for providing training courses. The institution shall have a policy for evaluation human resources engaged in training. So as this is a training program, so there are a good component of the technical skills required and competency required for the trainer, the faculty, as well as the evaluation mechanism for the students. So the people who are involved in providing training, they need to be evaluated, and there should be a policy for that. The institution shall have policy for evaluation of the students. Now, whosoever comes and join a training program, they need to be evaluated, and this is left to the organization to define what type of evaluation they want to do. They want to do a viva, they want to do a written test, how they want to evaluate. This is left to the organization, but they need to define their policy on that. The institution may decide not to have evaluation and provide only a participation certificate. So it's based on, again, in consonance with VMO 6, where you define a policy. If in that policy define you don't have any formal test or examination to evaluate, then in that case they can do so and thus just provide a certificate of participation, not like a certificate of successful completion or something like that, which has a different meaning. So to make a clear distinction in just participation or participation plus formal evaluations to state that they have really qualified or they have completed successfully after an evaluation. The second chapter is towards organization, governance, and administration. So how the organization is structured, how the organization is governed for its functioning. Institutions shall declare its ownership and legal status and details of ownership. So who are the owner? What status they have? They are the registered company, a trust, society, government. What is their legal status and details of the owners of that institution. Institution shall define its organization structure or organogram. So the organogram is basically an important tool to give an idea to anyone who is looking at it, that who reports to whom, who is accountable to whom, who is responsible for what, and what is the entire structure of the organization in terms of human resources and its related activities. The institution shall define the roles and responsibilities of our person. So anybody who is working in the organization, they call personnel. Each one of them has their own roles and responsibility. Specifically, you can have it in the job description. The institution shall define rules applicable to all personnel. So any rule which is applicable to anyone there is need to be defined. And rules are basically maybe human resource rules, means the terms condition for employment, service, training as a faculty, includes every type of, whether it's a regular or a part-time or a contractual, any type you define, and you define rules for them. Institution shall have a policy and procedure for outsourcing, if any. So in case something you are outsourcing to someone else, then you define the policy for that. The policy shall ensure that the outsourced entity complies with applicable parts of the standards and part of the assessment. So even in case you are subcontracting or outsourcing a thing to some other organization, then you need to define what is that, and then ensure that that entity or even maybe the individual in terms of the faculty as a contractor meets the requirement of this standard which we are talking about. The accredited training providers must witness the delivery of the outsourced entity at least once annually. So it's the responsibility of the institution who is outsourcing or a specific task or an activity to someone else to at least go and see how they are doing and whether they are complying to your specified requirement at least once in a year. The institution shall identify regulations applicable to its activities and shall have a system to meet the regulations. So this is basically to do the activity as lawful activities. So in case there are any legal or statutory requirements applicable to the activities or to the institution providing training course, they need to be identified. And once identified, they need to be complied with. So compliance comes only when you know what are applicable to you. So that's why it's important that you list them out. If there are any regulatory requirements that are applicable, list them out and then comply with them. Another chapter 3 is about the financial resources, and it's important that the institution should be financially viable to provide the services it is intended to provide, and therefore it says this, you should have a suitable mechanism to monitor its financial resources. The monitoring actually covers what are your sources, or how much you are earning, how much you are spending, so that you have a control over those financial transactions, and you know the status of your institution in terms of financial resources available to you and what you need to do in terms of if they are not sufficient or viable to provide options to your institution. Chapter 4 is about human resources, the personnel, the people working in the organization or working for the organization. The institution shall have sufficient resources to operate the training courses. So you really need all those resources which are required to provide specific training program which you are offering. The institution shall have a procedure for engaging personnel. So how you engage people to work in your organization. So they may be regular, as I mentioned earlier, maybe part-time, maybe contractual, or maybe regular. Any type of arrangements, it's up to you how you engage with them, but you should have a procedure for that to engage. The institution shall have a mechanism to identify training needs of its personnel. So if people are working with you, then they would definitely need to complete to meet certain requirements in terms of competence, skills, whatever. And according to that, is there any training there? So it's about training need assessment, training need identification of people working in your organization, and once you identified, provide those training, make arrangements to get them trained on that. The feedback of the training is to be collected, analyzed, and used for improvement. So any feedback you get from those training, you should collect those feedback and then use that analysis for the improvement. Organization shall have appraisal system for its personnel. So it's about the evaluation of the performance of the individual, the people working in your organization. So you define how you are going to do that, what will be your performance appraisal system or a criteria for that, predefined criteria basically, and then everybody knows about it so that they really work toward that to meet. And then at the end, you define how frequently you are going. Usually it's done once in a year, but it's entirely your choice to define what system you are going to use. Organization shall follow a grievance handling mechanism in case anyone working there is having any grievance against anyone there, then what system is to be used. So it should be available to the users. The institution shall have adopt measures to prevent the spread of infectious diseases if applicable. So this is important, particularly in view of the current pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, that people working together are coming into contact. So you should adopt the best practices, best measures prescribed by the law of the land at the minimum in that specific country to prevent the spread of any infectious disease, not only COVID, but there are a couple of other infectious diseases. The institution shall have a record of the personal details like name, age, sex, qualification, designation, experience, training, etc. So this is about personal file, personal record of all people. So there should be a personal file of everyone who is working there, and which at a minimum shall have these components which are just mentioned. Now you can have over and above, but these are the minimum thing we should keep and maintain at all times. Chapter 5 is infrastructure resources requirement. Is the institution shall determine and provide infrastructure needed to operate training courses. So what training you are offering, what infrastructure you need. So you determine what is required, right? In terms of man-machine environment. So it includes, usually the people you need, And then, the physical infrastructure, it may be building space, maybe any equipment, any specific environmental condition you need. So this is about you determine based on the course you are offering, and then accordingly make sure that they are provided. The institution shall organize for periodic maintenance of infrastructure. So you won't maintain anything that they may not last for long. So you should have a proper mechanism for maintenance. Usually they may be under annual maintenance contract by someone who is able to do that. So you should have your system for periodic maintenance in order to keep all infrastructure appropriate at all time. The institution shall ensure for periodic calibration of equipment if required. So in case there is an equipment which needs calibration, calibration means to ensure that equipment is fit for purpose. It is meant for an intended purpose, and it is providing and giving that intended purpose or fulfilling its intended purpose. So that is the purpose of calibration. So in case it is such type of equipment, depending on the course you are offering to demonstrate something, then you should get that done. The chapter 6 is about student services, what you are offering to students who are coming to get your training attended. The institution shall define the eligibility requirements for each training course. So what are the eligibility conditions? You define whatever you feel appropriate for that, including if any prior knowledge is required for a specific training course, and also make it available to public on without request. It means it should be available, and I think most appropriate ways of making it accessible and available to public is put on the website, because that is anyone can go and see. So you provide all those things that this is the course and these are the eligibility requirements to come and enroll for that. The institution shall have the code of conduct for trainees and shall have a system for addressing any breach of code of conduct. So you define a code of conduct for the trainees, the students who come to join your training program, and code of conduct may be a wide range of requirement, which you said it may be including participation, regular training, attendance, the regular minimum attendance to come and attend, and behavior, personal behavior with colleagues, the other students and trainees. So anything which you feel that this should be there as a code of conduct, which must be adhered by all trainees to create an appropriate environment of that specific class or training that you define, and then it should be known to all the trainees so that they abide by it. And then you should also have a system for addressing if there are any breach of any code of conduct, in case any trainee or any student is not abiding by the code of conduct for any, so that you should have that, yes, it get attended properly and addressed. The institution shall have a system to address any issues related to the trainees. So if anything is related to the trainees, any issues, anything which come out related to the students, it may be related to any individual students, related to financial, in their health, their family, or personal issues and concern, which you may attend on a case-to-case basis. For example, someone is fell sick and not able to attend, and then what mechanism you offer so that the student can make up to that time which has been lost, or any financial obligations on the student fees or something which you can. So you should have any issues related to that come to address. Chapter 7 is course curriculum, and this is what is basically technical thing that gives rise the credibility of specific training courses and what they are going to cover in that. So institution identify the courses it wishes to operate, including courses developed by others. So this is also related to the previous thing, that the courses identified and the requirements for that. It's also related to that what are the courses you're offering, right? What to provide, and it may having both type of courses. The courses developed by you as an institution, as well as you can take any course which is developed by somebody else. So you can get into an MOU, an agreement with some other institutions who have developed a specific course to get the permission to use that course and provide to students. So you identify those things. The institution shall have procedures to decide on course content, duration, eligibility, etc. for each course that it operates, unless these are decided by an external course provider. So if you have developed, then you decide that you should have a procedure for that to decide on what course content should be, what is going to be the time length, duration, what should be the eligibility conditions to come and attend and enroll for it, for all courses which you are providing. unless it is done by somebody else, the course which you have taken from outsider, and they have already defined all these things in their course. So in case courses are designed by the external course provider, training institution shall ensure that the course meet all the applicable requirements of this. So irrespective of who has developed the course, whether you yourself or anybody else, in all cases, you have to ensure that the course meets the requirement of this standard for accreditation, which we are talking about in all aspects. The institution shall define the competence of those who develop the courses, and if needed, take external help to develop courses. So this is again very important for the credibility of any training course, that the people who are involved in developing these, they are competent. And how? So you define the competency for the courses which you are developing. This is the course. This is the competency needed in the expert who comes and develop. So you may have in-house expertise, or you may have you may get that expertise from outside. So it's entirely up to you, get internal or external support to develop, but you define the requirement for anybody who comes and meet that specific competency requirement. The institution shall define its mode of delivery of training, whether you're going to do physically or in-person training, or a distance or online, or any other mode of, or a combination of any mode, like nowadays are all going virtual, right? So you may define you're going to have completely virtual, or you're going to have completely on site where everyone physically present. It may be hybrid, some part, maybe some practical demonstration, maybe on site, and some maybe off site, the remote. So you may be a hybrid. It may be an online recorded mechanism as well, which any student at his own convenience can attempt and walk through. So it's anything which depends on you entirely, but you must define that what going to be the delivery model. The institution shall define the learning outcome of its training courses. So for each course, you define what are the learning outcome. If I attend as a student, what I'm going to learn. So you define, and that actually is very important for anyone to come and get attracted toward the course, that these are the learning outcomes. I'm going to gain this much out of this course. So I think this is a win-win situation for everyone, both for you as a provider to get more students, and also for the students to come and attend those, finding the benefits. The institution shall ensure that the courses are delivered as designed. So you design course, so you follow how it is to be delivered. It should not be any deviation. So whatever documented thing you have done, for the delivery, you do it. The chapter 8 is evaluation and assessment at the end of during the delivery and after the delivery, how you evaluate. So institutions shall have evaluation at the end of training, a year for each course. So after the course is done, complete its own training, and means the duration, then you should have an evaluation, that how you're going to evaluate. The institution shall define the criteria of evaluation for each training course. So it's for all, it's not for one or not, but you define for each one of them. The institution shall define the process of evaluation for each. So what process you are going to use for evaluation, you define as well. The institution shall define if the student is not successful in evaluation, and if a student can appear again without training. If yes, how many times? So if anyone comes and attend and then is not, and if you have a criteria that successful and not successful, if it is just participation, it's okay. But if there is a criteria that you declare someone is successful or not successful, so what is the process you have in place if some case is not successful? So can a student come back and attend a specific type of that training? If that, how many times you provide that opportunity, or if it's not successful, then the student has come and attend the entire course. So you define whatever you're going to do. The institution defines conditions under which students may require to repeat. Yeah, same thing which I covered in E4, that you define whether the student can just come and attend or walk through the test and see the results, whether it's not or not, or they have to come again. It means reappearing all the modules and the trainings, and then undergo evaluation. The institution shall have an independent process for appeal against the decision on evaluation. So there should be a process for appeal. And appeal means appeal can be made against the decision made by the training provider, the training institute. So if they have made a decision, say for example, you are not qualified, then there should be an opportunity. There should be a mechanism called appeal for the students to appeal that, yes, no, I'm not satisfied and I would like to get this review. So you should have that system in place. Chapter 9, learning resources. This is to facilitate and help students to get more and more knowledge. The institution shall provide information on learning resources, both physical and virtual, for self-learning. So you may prescribe some books, maybe e-books or physical books, or maybe some any mode is acceptable. So it actually to facilitate and provide them as a part of your curriculum or course. So it may be some resources may be upon your website, which you provide to all students. Maybe some may be in public domain, anybody can access. Some may be only specific to specific student who enroll it. So you have access control to only the. So it's entirely your mechanism, but you should provide so that it helps in better understanding before they take up or even during they take up. The institution shall encourage research, publication, article writing, or design. This is about the improvement, how you improve your own courses. So you support, you encourage the research, so that there may be developmental aspects of the specific training course over a period of time. You learn from them after analysis of several parameters, and then you can evolve and make improvement in your training, even content, the delivery, or whatever way you like. And better you publish in the journal so that it is disseminated. Other people also get benefit out of it. The chapter 10, which is the last one, quality improvement. As we talk about accreditation, so there is a component of improvement, and quality is not something which you can do one time and then you relax. No, it's an ever evolving process. It has to go from here to there over a period of time on a continuous basis. So institutions shall establish a monitoring system for quality improvement. So you shall establish a system, and how you going to monitor your quality improvement processes, and how you will demonstrate that there is improvement. The institution shall define its quality indicators, learning outcome indicators to promote quality in training. So you define your performance indicators, right? That these are the indicators which we will measure, and based on which we will say we are going up or down, or we are standstill. So that will give you a measure to identify opportunities for improvement. The institution shall collect feedback from students and other stakeholders and analyze it for improvement. So one of the best way of getting feedback is in conducting surveys, passing on the questionnaire, predefined questionnaire, and get the feedback from stakeholders, from the student, the first thing, and the stakeholders. So students are not the only one of the stakeholders, but there may be a wider range of stakeholders. You should identify your stakeholder. Maybe the institutions, other institutions who are accepting this training program you are offering, stakeholder, the people you are offering, the organization offering jobs, the work opportunities to students after completing, they are your stakeholders. So you take feedback from all of those so that you can come to know what's going on, what need to be improved, what need to be modified, so that you can really measure those objectives. The institution shall have a system of internal audit annually and address the findings for improvement. So the internal audit is one of the best management tool to identify anything, any deficiency occurring and existing in your own system. So before somebody from outside comes and indicate, it's better you identify your own deficiencies based on your own criteria. So you carry out internal audit for entire system from all chapter 1 to chapter this, everything you cover into your internal audit at least once in a year. You can have more. So it is good that when you are starting a new system, then you should have more frequent audit, maybe once in 3 months, once in 6 months, and then as you progress, you learn, you get experience, then you can have at least once in a year. So I think that's the standard, and Anupam has already covered assessment process, so I won't go into these details. So I just end my presentation with this. Thank you very much. Back to you, Dr. Sharma. Thank you so much.
Great, sir. Great. Both of you have highlighted each and every aspect. Great. Thanks. We are grateful to you. And I will, this stream is live on YouTube also. So I am confident that everybody will be benefited by both of you, both of your guidance to General Society. Thank you very much. I would like to welcome Dr. Thamiji. He is the Vice Chancellor, but as a speaker, I will call him for his valuable speech after Professor Madan Thangvelu sir. But I am now inviting Professor Dr. Debjani ji. Professor Debjani Roy, Member Secretary and Program Manager, GCPPS, CDSA, THSTI, DVT, New Delhi. Welcome, madam. Welcome. After that, she is the planner of that training for traditional healer. So with Dr. Thirunarayanan, I welcome Dr. Thirunarayanan also. So initially, I would like to request Professor Debjani Roy ji to guide us on tradition. Before that, if you permit, Debjani ji, I would like to request 2 questions only with Rana ji.
Sure.
Rana ji, in online courses, what will be the practical videos or practical activity?
Yes, there may be videos made of certain demonstration, and there may be live also. Means video made and recorded, and there may be live also. Somebody is demonstrating some functions, and then people are watching. Like I can demonstrate something like this, and everyone is watching. So it's to decided by the institution based on the type of courses they are.
And last question is placement.
Yes, the placement depends on the institution itself, of course. And that's why the last chapter, the outcome and quality improvement is helpful in demonstrating that how credible your course is. And when you get accreditation under this program, that itself shows that your program is credible, which is validated by a third-party evaluation process we call accreditation. And that will give an advantage to that specific course over any other course to get these students absorbed by different organizations for their own purposes.
Right from the beginning, any startup institution can apply.
Anyone can apply who is offering this course. If they meet this standard as we described, anyone can fall and apply for that.
Thank you. So nice of you for your valuable guidance.
question.
Yes. Harish Verma ji from Canada.
नमस्कार सर, नमस्कार सभी को प्रणाम. तो मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है राणा जी कि who will decide the scope of practice, whether RAB or the local institution?
Scope of practice means the content of the training, right?
Content of ultimately it's a course for practitioner.
Yes.
I mean, Ayurveda is not a theoretical part. There's a lot of practice involved. And who will decide the scope of practice for every course?
Okay, good question. And I think it's just more on this side is not necessary that a Ayurveda practitioner who is formally qualified with a degree comes to attend, because these courses are meant, this accreditation is meant for those courses which are not covered in the regulatory requirements. So they are more informal courses, right? You need not to be a BMS or MD degree to come and attend necessarily, depending on the course. So the content depends on you as an organization, but RAV is already started developing the content, the course curricula for different types of courses, so that people can adopt these courses which are based on best practices available around the world, and then they need not to develop their own. And also it gives more credibility to the course and also more comfort to the evaluating agency under AUSDTAB that yes, this course which is being offered by this organization is based on the curricula which we have defined. So AUSDTAB has already started working on developing course curricula for different types of courses. But ultimately it's rests with the organizer.
Yeah. Thank you.
But
very
as
much.
far as practice is concerned, that will be governed by the laws of respective countries. I mean, because we are talking about global accreditation. If with this kind of, for example, in India, you have to have BAMS degree to practice Ayurveda. So that prevails regardless of what training you undergo. But for other kind of, courses like Panchkarma, there is no regulation. Or even yoga, there is no regulation. So if there is no regulation, the regulation will determine in each country what you can practice.
Yes, sir. So I'll come back on this issue. Let us listen other speakers. तो ये बहुत important जानकारी आज आप लोग दे रहे हैं, लेकिन just एक मिनट में बताना चाहूँगा कि मैंने अभी सुनते वेबसाइट को देखा, RAB की वेबसाइट को, and I downloaded the document. उसमें पंचकर्मा का जो कोर्स है, I have gone through the prerequisite. तो उसमें just +2 या हायर सेकेंडरी उन्होंने प्री रिक्विजिट रखा हुआ है।
That's
तो
right.
हमें, मेरा ये सजेशन है कि on one side we need to have a full control on Ayurveda education. I mean, we means you people. I am in Canada. You are the people who are the owner of Ayurveda. You means the entire India. Please try to understand. Ayurveda
Yes.
belongs to India. We
Correct.
need to tell people all over the world that India is having a ownership on Ayurveda. This is very important.
Yes.
Otherwise, the way you all are projecting, I have seen the document. सारी नॉलेज हाईजैक करके ले जाएंगे ये लोग। ध्यान रखिए, ये बहुत केयरफुल होना पड़ेगा। आयुर्वेदा इज इमर्जिंग। आप अपनी ओनरशिप को पहले प्लान करिए। दूसरी बात, इसमें जो पंचकर्मा, आई हैव सीन ओनली वन डॉक्यूमेंट, पंचकर्मा का जो कोर्स था उसमें प्री रिक्विजिट हाई सेकेंडरी या +2 आप लोग दे रहे हैं। दिस इज, पंचकर्मा इज नॉट सो सिंपल। पंचकर्मा इज नॉट दैट कि हम सिर्फ मसाज किया, हर्बल सोना दिया, पंचकर्मा हो गया। पंचकर्मा इज लाइक ए न्यूरो सर्जरी। इट्स वेरी, बिकॉज हमने यहाँ पर रिसेंटली किसी व्यक्ति ने उत्तरवस्ती दे दी 12 साल की एक लड़की को। यू कैन इमेजिन कि 12 साल की लड़की को उत्तरवस्ती थी। अब उत्तरवस्ती में कैसे उन्होंने कवात को स्टरलाइज किया, कैसे उन्होंने उसको दिया, एंड शी लैंडेड इन हॉस्पिटल। उसके बाद बहुत बवाल मचा। तो ये सब चीजों को हमें, कॉन्ट्राइंडिकेशन, साइड इफेक्ट, सब चीजों को सोच करके इसको लॉन्च करना चाहिए। मेरे ख्याल में
Dr. Verma, this is a voluntary system and it's open to all comments. आपको अगर लगता है कोई ठीक इसमें improvement possible है, please write back. हम लोग technical committee में will certainly consider.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'll listen. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Harish Verma ji. I would like to request again to Debjani Roy ji, our resource person and guide for now. We are moving to different subject, certification of traditional healers. Welcome, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma, and thank you all of you all for thinking of this topic, which is in a way very close to my heart. And I would like to bring to you the journey, basically, how it has happened. So let me try and share my screen, and hopefully I'll be able to do that. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet, madam.
Oh. Let me check out. Sometimes.
Your kind permission, can I share?
Yeah, sure. That will help me, because sometimes this creates problem. Last time I saw that. Yeah, that will be nice. When you're able to see this, tell me. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma. And I would like to thank all of you for giving me this opportunity to speak about something which really started in a very, we were just means we felt the need and we thought it should be done, but it was absolutely a new path which was to be walked through. And therefore I thought, what should I speak today? And even I discussed with Mr. Jauhri. I said, what do I do? So he says, maybe you should talk about the journey, how we started years back and where we are today. So basically I would cover that aspect. And I would then, Dr. Thirunarayanan, who also has been involved with this entire journey, he has walked through the path himself with us, and therefore he would be bringing you more about the technical part. But somewhere I thought it will be a nice storytelling session for me in a way, and also bring to you the highlights. So can I go on to the next slide, please? So this journey actually, can I go on to the next slide? So this journey actually started way back in 2010-12, when I was actually brought a deputation to the Indira Gandhi National Open University to set up the Center for Traditional Knowledge System. And that is when the Secretary, Mrs. Jalaja, was the then Secretary of Ayush. It was not a ministry then, and it was a department. And she herself was very interested in this whole thing. And we had a couple of meetings, and our Vice Chancellor in IGNOU, he was also one of those pillars who wanted this work to be started. And I must say that that was the time I met Mr. Anil Jauhri, because I come, basically my background is from the academic arena. And when I met him, until today, it's a learning process for me. So basically he's a guru and we are all shishyas walking through the path. And this was a new thing that we started learning. So as a result, giving you this brief background, we started the accreditation, the title that was suggested at that point of time. We didn't know much about the nitty-gritty details till we really started interacting with QCI. But before that, I had worked on this project. I wrote the project and submitted to the then Department of Ayush, and they were very kind. They gave a very good grant. And what was suggested that we should put the title as accreditation and certification of the prior knowledge of the Gram Vaidyas. At that point of time, I will also, while I talk, I will say how the connotation also changed, how the today what we talk of traditional healer, how the whole things changed. So initially it was thought that they have the Gram Vaidyas. That is what we thought. We should name them as Gram Vaidyas, and they're known as that, and they have a lot of prior learning, and that prior learning has to be certified. And therefore, this was started as a pilot project funded by Department of Ayush. And then since IGNOU, I was in IGNOU, submitted the project. So we are the initiator and we were the certifying agency. And without Quality Council of India, we wouldn't have known the ABCD of this whole game. And we had a technical partner, that is the Foundation for the Revitalization of Local Health Tradition. So these were the three partners who worked on this and started the journey in 2010. The next slide, please. So then the project, this was a pilot project which was sanctioned, as I said, and it was to be implemented in 8 states. And in 8 states, we selected 1 district each, mostly based on where maximum number of Gram Vaidyas were known to be there. And mostly these were tribal interior districts. And therefore, there were 2 states in Northeast, Arunachal and Meghalaya. And within brackets are the districts that were selected. From East and Central region, we chose Chhattisgarh and Odisha. The districts were Korba and Mayurbhanj. From West was Gujarat, the Dang district, and Rajasthan, Udaipur district. And in South, it was Karnataka. District was Shimoga, and Tamil Nadu district was Vellore. So these were the study site areas. And what we were supposed to do, or what we were just started walking the path, was to certify people. That means what today I understand, those days even I took time to understand that we were certifying people, and therefore it would be what ISO 17024 tells us. Can we go back to the previous slide, please? No, not this one. We were on a previous slide. Yeah, thank you. So then we were certifying people, that is the traditional healers or the Gram Vaidyas. At that point of time, we had named that title, given the title, and these were person, and therefore this was personal certification. What does 1724 say is anybody can be certified provided they are competent. They may not have this competence or acquired the competence through degrees, the qualifications, but they should have the competence. And how do we know competence? That is the knowledge and the skill. And how do we sort of evaluate this knowledge and skill? Again, 17024 says somebody may acquire through education. Somebody may get it through training, work experience, self-study, or even by observation. In case of these Gram Vaidyas that we were dealing with, they would have got their knowledge and skill as a family lineage or through Guru Shishya Parampara or even helping senior Gram Vaidya. So that is where the knowledge they had, and we needed to evaluate and certify that knowledge. And as we said again, 1724 says that unlike education system, in education system, what do? We get a certificate, a degree, and that's it. Today, even I write as doctor because I have done my PhD and I write it lifelong. The medical doctors write it, of course. Now government says that you have to go for refreshers course and whatnot. But still here, in case of personal certification, they say that once you get a certification for your skills and knowledge, it is not lifelong. It has to be, you have to again go through the process of learning and get yourself reassessed. So that is the essence of personal certification. And the certification of the traditional healers was based on this principle. Can we go on to the next one, please? Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, the Gram Vaidya. So now what we did is I come back to this term Gram Vaidya. That means we were still calling them as Gram Vaidya, and we were working in 8 states. And therefore, this, as I talked about the personal certification, our certification of Gram Vaidya was fitting in perfectly with this concept. That means they can be fitted in because they have the knowledge and skill, and we have to have mechanisms to evaluate them. But one thing we realized while we undertook the journey, although in our project approval, it was termed as Gram Vaidya, but in some of the states, this terminology was not being accepted very easily. So we changed to traditional health practitioners. Why I mention this point is, even to write a scheme document or even to implement it, we have to undertake little nuances in it. We have to think of the people's sentiments, how people will come walk with you, and how to make them more confident. So therefore, instead of calling them Gram Vaidyas, because especially in the northeastern states, in Meghalaya especially, where I was actually working for a long time, they had some reservation of being known as Gram Vaidyas. So we had to have a meeting amongst the stakeholders, and then we started calling them as traditional health practitioners and THPs. So the terminology was changed, and we realized they would have no formal education. They would have acquired the competence through various means, either family traditions, Guru Shishya Parampara, self-learning, observing, and then they are giving their services. And they could have acquired their competence in any of these things, provided we can evaluate them and certify them. The next one, please. So once we started working in these 8 states, this is a slide which I'm showing from the pilot project thing. And how do we decide where to go, how to collect the statistics, how to decide what are the ailments that is most prevalent across the country. If you have seen, we had selected 8 states across the country. Now we were trying to find out the commonality of the diseases that was uniform across the country. Therefore, rapid village surveys were taken, and for this village surveys, we from door to door, this was done, selecting points according to statistics. And then we found out the various groups, tribal, non-tribal, literate, non-literate, THPs, or they're the DIEs, that is the traditional birth attendants, how they prepare the medicines, how they dispense the medicine, how many patients, as we say, they treat per month. All those details have to be taken from each of those 8 districts that we were working, and also find out what are the most common type of diseases that they are able to treat with the herbal medicines. So these were the records, the data. That is how we went and collecting. The next one, please. Next slide. And then we came to the conclusion that we will now start the certification program. And this is what we did in Gujarat, Dang district, where people were informed about this certification program either through newspapers, handouts in local languages, because they wouldn't know English or anything because they were in the remote areas. And later on, I'm not getting into the details. Dr. Thirunarayanan will be talking to you about the process that is followed, but it's a very, very rigorous process. Mr. Jauhri has already mentioned that we have an oral interview, thinking that they're not, all of them may not be able to read or write, or even in them, they'll be doing it in their mother language. Then they have to demonstrate how they're treating, and then go to their homes and see whether how clean they are, how hygienic they are. And then we advertise. There are various processes to collect and scrutiny the applications, and finally the evaluation process has gone through. And this is like in Dang district, we received 70 applications. One was rejected right away in the scrutiny. Then 69 appeared and 55 got certified, and few were felt that few needed to be trained and finally come. So this was an overview of what we did in Dan district. I'm just randomly picking some data. Like this is in Udaipur, Rajasthan, where again you can see the different sort of most common diseases that these traditional healers were treating them. And this is how the photograph shows how they are brought and they are explained the whole process, because nobody knows, they will be doubtful. So every village, every panchayat, we had to go in the beginning, door to door, explaining to them in their own language, and also try and find out how many females were there. And luckily we found there are many, many female traditional healers who said that this certification will give them the respectability, because people always think female are only dyes, but they have other knowledge also. These were the sort of statistical data that was collected during the pilot project. The next one, please. And this was done in Vellore district, where you can see Dr. Thirunarayanan was one of the leading persons who went for the evaluations. And Dr. Thirunarayanan will be speaking to you all. People would show how they were doing, and it was an elaborate process. And right in the bottom on the left, the first certifications for the pilot project was handed over to the traditional healers of Tamil Nadu by the then Pro-Vice Chancellor of IGNOU, and Dr. Thirunarayanan had organized that in the Center for Traditional Medicine and Research in Chennai. We all had gone, so it was a very joyous occasion for us to give away the first certificates, which was generated from the pilot project studies. The next slide, please. Again, I come back to some of the things where we just put together I've just put 4 states together, and I've showed what are the most common type of diseases. And then also we had to come up that not only they need to be certified, but there are many, many THPs who needed to be trained. So there was a clear need for certification and for training. So the scheme would have both the components later on. So this was the results of the pilot project. The next one, please. And I also said there are males and females, and there were quite a number of females we found in most of these districts in these 4 states. I have the other data, which of course I didn't put through, it would become too long, and the most common type of diseases. So this is what came out of the pilot project. The next one. Now, the results of this pilot project, we could certify 517 TCHPs. From these 2, the northeastern states, we could not proceed much because of various reasons, natural reasons, other things. So we just concentrated on the 6 states, and we could certify 517 THPs during the pilot project. And I submitted the report to the Ministry of Ayush in 2013 after doing all the accounting and everything, and it was very well appreciated. Can we go on to the next one, please? Now, these were our knowledge partners for the pilot project. You can see so many, the state level partners, the NGOs, the academic institutions, the government organizations. We had to take help of all of them to submit our report to the minister, to the Department of Ayush. That was department then, and it was very, very well appreciated. And our knowledge partners were Quality Council of India, and as I said, FRLHT Bangalore. They have another name, as by that time they were calling themselves Institute of Ayurveda and Integrative Medicine. So this is where the pilot project's report was submitted. The next one, next slide, please. So what did we get out of this? So we found tool for documentation, what we should document, what we should write, how should we inform the customers, then how do we go about the certification of the knowledge, skills, and the services. And there is a need for skill upgradation training. That was the gap that was found when we certified 517 THPs. And then there is a continuous information and technical assistance for the, now I'm changing the terminology to TCHP. I will explain to you in my next slide, for upgradation. And the scenario at that point, this is, I'm calling around 2015-16, because the department, by that time it had become a Ministry of Ayush, and they were really interested in continuing this pilot project in a bigger way at a national level, because they felt the shortage of health workers at the PHC level. Then they realized that there are THPs available in the rural and inhospitable terrains of our country who are actually giving us the services. And if we do not take cognition of this knowledge of the THPs, they will face the erosion, and in the lack of recognition for them, they might lose interest. And therefore, it was felt, what is the possible solution? The possible solution is the certification of the THPs. This is the end result, or what came out of the pilot project. The next one, please. So therefore, based on that necessity, the scenario, and what were the gap areas, actually it was Mr. Jauhri who took the bold step, I must say, and he realized what it was. And even the certified TCHPs were asking for recertification because they felt the benefit for them. QCI and FRLHT joined hands to fill up this gap and launched the National Scheme of Voluntary Certification for Traditional Community Healthcare Providers. Here, we changed the terminology from TCHP because we realized they are mostly traditional people. They're mostly working for the community, and they are not practitioners, because there was some sort of difficulty in calling them practitioners. Even we had a lot of stakeholders in our committees who said providers would be better word, because they are not that qualified, so they should not be confused with medical practitioners. And therefore, we started calling them as traditional community healthcare providers. We had to take a lot of inputs, and then we came to this terminology, and today this terminology is well accepted across all the multi-stakeholders of the committee, and it was launched in March 2017. Next slide, please. So this was launched. This is how the book looks like, and we go to the next one, and the partners are FRLHT and QCI. And as Dr. Anupam or even Dr. Rana has said, the scheme, they have a governing structure. There's a requirement of minimum standard of competence. But for the traditional healers, we needed to very clearly understand that what are the requirements, what are the deviations that we could accept, and how much could be accepted, like written down documents or examination. It should be oral visits. All those things had to be thought through. And then there's a very robust certification process. And finally, there is the accreditation process. And I am very glad to announce that for the TCHP, one of the PRCBs who were provisionally approved in 2019, they went in for an NABCB accreditation. And now we have an accredited PRCB for TCHPs, and they are functioning very well. The next slide, please. So as we did from the pilot project, we selected 6 domains, and the next 4 domains are also planned. We need to work on them, but the 6 domains are well established, and people at the TCHPs are being certified for these domains. The next one, please. And it was not just taken randomly, it was selected through the Rapid Village Survey. The data I've already shown to you. And what are the criteria for TCHPs to come forward for the certification? We also specified they should be minimum 28 years of age. They should have 10 years of experience for the practice. And they have to sign a code of conduct, a free prior informed consent form, the self-declaration, and everything has to be endorsed by a village panchayat or the local community, because this is the way to root out the quacks of the society, so that people should be known, they should be very, very socially responsible person, and therefore the village panchayat should endorse their applications. The next one, please. Then we have members of these traditional healers on the committees, in the steering committee and other committees also, but there also we have defined the criteria for them to become committee members, that they should be 30 years age and they should be 20 years of experience. Then wherever, if they are giving some sort of decision, they should not be giving decision for the TCHPs or for their own district. It should be that will do away with the conflict of interest, and they should be very unbiased, transparent. That is general requirement. The next one, please. And these are the how once they get certified. So therefore the certification ensures their empowerment, social responsibility, and the quality assurance. I'm not getting into the details, but I must say that after they started getting certified, many of the state governments have come forward to support them, especially in Meghalaya. They're setting up wellness center where the certified TCHPs will find place, most probably, to work there. In Tripura, the forest department has set up hubs for them. Even Chhattisgarh had given sanction fund for their recertification. So many of the state governments are also now picking up this scheme. Next one, please. I just wanted to report to you, I'm not getting into details, it will be too long, but we also followed up on the certified people who were certified in the pilot project and went to them, and interviewed them, how their life has been, has any change happened after they got certified. And most of them said that their wages were, earlier they worked as daily laborers, but later on they're earning much more. People have set up many more things. They have actually, their life has changed and they're very, very happy, and certification has helped them. I'm just showing you the photographs of the people. The next one, please. Yeah, this is one person who had got certified, and now his family, the daughters, the entire family has got into this traditional healing, dispensing the medicines and taking up, so people are not going away. Similarly, we interviewed others also, 2 people who were certified and 2 people who were evaluators, and all 4 of them I have given in details. Maybe you all can read through it next time. Dr. Sharma has got the details. So all of them, you could just pass through the slides, Dr. Yeah, so this is another person who was certified, and his life has changed. He's earning much more. It has helped him. The next one, please. And I just want to mention, this person was an evaluator. He has set up now 4 centers for the treatment and getting a lot of people. The next one, please. This one I wanted to just show you the next. Yeah, this is a photograph. I myself went to interview this person. Right on the left is the person who's standing. He's a traditional healer. He started, he treats paralytic patients, and on the extreme right is a person sitting behind on the bicycle. I've seen him myself. He was paralyzed. He came to him thrice, and later on now he's able to come all the way from Nashik to this place to get treated, and he's finding it very, very. We interviewed this patient also, and this traditional healer who was certified, now he's getting so many patients that he has to His son also has left job in Bombay and has come to help him. So this is the success story, or in a way, how the scheme has helped the traditional healers. So I just wanted to bring to you this. It has been published in Pharma Biz twice, I think, this whole story. Somehow they also approached it. And now, right now on the QCI website, you can see from all these states, 419 TCHPs have been certified. And all the details, their contact numbers, names, and all details are there on the QCI website. The next one, please. And all these findings, somehow I did not approach anyone, but these people have approached us for publications, and these have come out as book chapters, one in 2012, recently in 2019, and one is in press, that is by Springer Nature, Singapore. And recently, IGNU has also realized this, and they have made a video on this entire certification process. IGNU were the first people to start this journey. So here ends my journey for thing, and I'm really thankful to you. I just gave you an overview of this entire scheme and where it stands. And now I think Dr. Thirunarayanan will tell you all the nitty-gritty details. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. You have very well elaborated the history as well as the success stories also after registration. Great. Every traditional healer should go for this registration. It is our request to the society. Now we would like to request Thirumalai Swami Thirunarayanan, Secretary, Center for Traditional Medicine and Research, Chennai. Very long biodata. He is the alumni of Government Siddha Medical College, had 34 years of experience in different sphere of Indian system of medicines, including teaching, training, clinical and industrial research. He is member of AUSDTAB, member of Standing Financing Committee, Finance Committee, General Body, NIS, member of EMR Project Approval Committee, Ministry of Ayush, subject expert WHO Siddha Terminology Group, subject expert Intellectual Property Rights, PR Traditional Knowledge, subject expert Traditional Knowledge Digital Library Project, subject expert VCTHPS, what for we are discussing, Quality Council of India. We are really grateful to Shri Jauhri ji, Debjani ji to introduce us a dignitary like Thirumalai Swami Thirunarayanan sir. Welcome, sir. Now stage is yours. Thank you. Thank you for your valuable guidance in anticipation. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Dr. Jauhri has given a detailed explanation about the scheme. I just want to go through only the process of certification. Point number one, the certification is not done directly by the scheme owners, namely Quality Council of India or FRLHT. The certification process is done by personal certifying bodies which are recognized by the Quality Council of India. The certifying bodies, there are certain requirements, prerequisites for them to be recognized as a professional certifying body. Once the certifying body is accepted, then they have to seek application from the traditional healers. To seek application from the traditional healers, they have to give a wider publicity, that in the local language. That is very important, so that the healer should know. And also, they should give wide publicity through the various Gram Vaidya Association. Though we call them as TCHPs, they are still Gram Vaidyas in most of the states. So, wider publicity needs to be given. And the structured application format and the prerequisite for application was mentioned by Dr. Debjani Roy, and also is in the website of Quality Council of India under the TCHPS program. That application has to be filled. Their requirement is 18 years completed plus 10 years of clinical practice experience or service providing experience, which duly needs to be countersigned or validated by either the elected member or the administrative member when the Panchayat elections are not held. Since it has moved from Gram Vaidya to traditional community health care providers, they could be in villages or could be in towns and even in cities. So that is the difference when we shifted this to that. So that is the prerequisite to validate that they have to be certified by an elected member. The reason why an elected member is suggested is mainly because elected member lives within the community. An officer may be posted from outside. So it is mandatory for village administrative officers to live in the villages. Most of the time it's not the case. So the elected member is given preference to validate whether this person comes from a family of healers or whether he has learned in the Guru Sachya Parambara or how long he has been practicing. All this needs to be certified only by a local authority, competent authority, an informal leader or a formal leader, elected representative. Once the certificate is received, if they fulfill the criteria of how many domains, like for example, common ailment, jaundice, how many domains they are applying, that has to be scrutinized, whether they fulfill the criteria of the age, whether they are practicing other systems of medicine, all those things have to be looked at, and whether they are being properly endorsed by the local panchayat has to be verified. Well, then the application has to be verified and communicated to them within a period of 15 days. And there is any lacuna in the application, they should be given 30 days time to refill the application and send it back. So they have to voluntarily go in for evaluation. So therefore they have to give an informed consent, because sometimes they feel that it's a family knowledge or the hereditary knowledge that they are exposing to the evaluators or the certifying bodies. So they should be doubly sure that no intellectual property is being stolen away from them. So the voluntary consent, this is a voluntary certification scheme. So they have to give a informed self-declaration that they are willing to reveal during the process of evaluation. They have to submit for evaluation within a period of 3 months from the application or once the application is approved. Who will evaluate them? That is the other critical point. This scheme provides an evaluator has to be minimum, initially we thought 50 years, but of late we find in most villages or more so in states of the Northeast region. Fortunately, I have been associated with the program in the Northeast with NICU University, which is a certifying body, or with Chhattisgarh, or with Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. So, comparing all these states where I physically gone either as an assessor or an evaluator or a QJ representative or just as a witness, we have realized this 50 years is little too long, and 20 years of practice with 18 years of adult age, that is 38 years is sufficient for an evaluation. The key information is that he should speak the language, he should know the vernacular terminology or the words which are used in that area. For example, if somebody from Karnataka comes to certify somebody in Tamil Nadu, they should know Tamil. It's also important, they should also know the vernacular name of the plants used, because when we say local community healthcare providers, we don't expect them to buy some branded medicine and prescribe. We expect them to collect herbs locally or grow herbs locally and use them. That is a way of sustainable utilization of natural resources, which is, and whether they maintain a herbal garden. I come to that part little later after the application. So these evaluators are carefully chosen, and for the two evaluators, there will be a team leader. The team leader will be a graduate or a postgraduate in one of the codified system of medicine of India, namely Siddha, Ayurveda, or Unani. So they will be the team leaders. But the team leaders will not actually function as evaluators. Only when there is a dispute between the two evaluators, they act as moderators. So the evaluation is actually done by experienced traditional community healthcare providers themselves. That is a very important feature that you should know. It's not an outsider, it is only from their own community that we have evaluators. And then there can be a public health expert who can be a witness to the evaluation process. This evaluation is generally done orally. You know, not all of them can read and write, but orally it's done. And most of the oral evaluation is videographed wherever it is possible. So for each of the domains, for example, a common ailment, jaundice, bone setting, different set of evaluators in that particular domain is used. That is very important. So they should know the local language, they should be unbiased, they should not have any conflict of interest. If their children apply for certification, or if the Shishya apply for certification, in that particular panel, these evaluators cannot sit. So the conflict of interest between the evaluators and the evaluated person should also be revealed prior to the process of evaluation. Once the oral evaluation, the case presentation, the skill presentation is done in a common hall. Subsequent day with prior information, the evaluators visit each of these healers in their own place of practice, which is generally their homes. Because most practitioners, community healthcare providers, they serve the community from the farm or their home. Very few of them have some kind of a structured clinical facility. So they are visited there. The community is involved in the process of evaluation. We visually see whether they are using any modern medicine or any other medicines. We visually see whether they indulge in any publicity like activities. We ensure the community respects them. And if wherever possible, we interview few of the beneficiaries of the healer. And we also verify whether they are able to identify the health properly, whether the process of preparation of medicine, they are very clear, whether the dose of medicine, they are very clear, the duration of treatment, they are very clear, are they clear about the different categories? I'll give you one example. I'll not take much of time. I know I am the last speaker of the day, so I will not take much of time. For example, in jaundice, there's an obstructive jaundice, there's an infective jaundice, and hemolytic jaundice. They need not have to know the jargons, the terminology, but they should know where is the risk factor. In bone setting, they should know whether they can handle the head injuries, the complicated fractures, the compound fractures, the commuted fractures, and the simple fracture. So these differences, these people should know. And the reduction immobilization. When they do reduction in immobilization, they are expected to know what kind of a spin to use, whether it should not be sharp, whether it should not compress any nerve or blood vessel. All these things are being verified when they actually demonstrate this in the field condition. So all the knowledge, skill, and when it comes to some communicable disease like jaundice, whether they know how to prevent it, what causes it, what are the differences, subclassification, differential diagnosis, all these things an experienced healer will definitely know. So these are all included in the questionnaire, what we call as the minimum standard of competence. And their attitude, apart from knowledge, skill, cleanliness, how they maintain their background, all these things are verified, and also their attitude. How do they treat the patient? Because we know all of us, medical men take Hippocrates oath and Dharmendra oath, where we say that we will treat the other human being as our own. So that kind of an attitude, whether these people have, and though in most cases they do it free of charge, whether there is any exploitation in any form, which are all verified during the field visit, and then the evaluators recommend them to the certifying body. Certifying body consolidate the scores and choose the accreditation certifying committee, selects who are eligible, and then sends it to QCA, and QCA uploads in the website. The certifying bodies are also expected to maintain an independent website for this activity where all information are in public domain. There's also provision for appeal. If there's a conflict of interest, if somebody says that your evaluator was little biased towards me, there's an appeal committee, and the appeal committee goes through the process. Even for the certifying body, there's an appeal committee in the QCI, in the governing structure, there's a steering committee. All these things happen so that this certifying process is very elaborate, very stringent, at the same time not making the applicant uncomfortable. We have visited many of them in their location. After surveillance, post-surveillance, after 1 year or 2 years, and we have also done the certifying bodies re-evaluation after 1 year, what we call the office assessment, then the witness assessment, and how they certify. As QCA representative have gone to these locations also, and I can assure you, because there is always the conflict between the graduate doctors and the traditional healers. How can you certify them? One thing I want to tell you is Government of India has started recognizing them, and that is why in the past 4-5 years, a good number of Padma Shri awards have been provided to some of the traditional healers from the Khanid tribes and other tribes in India. So therefore, the government recognizes them. Government recognizes their sub-users in the rural community is very important. Even during the pandemic time, they are the torch bearers to convey the right information to the villages, because villages have a lot of respect for traditional community healthcare providers, and therefore they have a very significant role. And the process, like Dr. Anil mentioned in the beginning, we have to have a good evaluation standard and also a good evaluation process and good evaluators. The 3 pillars are taken care of by the certifying body and also by QCA before certifying the certifying body. So this has been very successful in terms of this thing for the community, and the community gets benefited, the traditional community health healers get benefited. Even Ayurvedic doctors and Siddha doctors, we feel that these kind of people could be very efficient assistants in our own clinical practice. Thank you very much.
Great, sir. Great. You have described everything in very easy language, so everybody can understand. Excellent, sir. Really, I would like to communicate my sincere regards, and we will trouble you again on this platform whenever the webinar will be. Definitely. Thank you very much, sir. Now I would like to request Professor Dr. Madan Thangvelu, sir. He is a genome biologist and from Cambridge University, president of Ayurvedic Association there in UK. I would like to request with folded hand, Professor and Chairman of the Board of Governors of International Interdisciplinary Institute for Research, Education and Skill. I welcome him. Welcome, sir.
Pawanji, namaskar. Thank you
Namaskar,
so much.
sir.
Delighted to be here with everybody. Yesterday, we had a wonderful event talking about one herbal formulation, Brahmi tea. And today you have moved the whole exercise to the other end of the spectrum, which is training, certification, quality control. We want to, first of all, I want to thank Anilji, who's here with us, a good friend of the platform, and Anilji has been with us on several occasions. So we knew from Anilji's earlier discussions the approximate scope and the extent of quality control work that is going on under his leadership in India. And Anupamji had presented some time back at one event in the Netherlands. Anupamji will recollect that. This was just a few months ago. So I was aware a little bit about Anupamji's. But today, the work that was elaborated by Ranaji, and then Debjani ji, thank you so much for your excellent presentation. and also from Chennai. Sir, thank you so much for introducing so many aspects of particularly the subtleties of vernacular, the vernacular and vernacular knowledge. Now, before I, Pawanji, with your permission, before I do a little more on those details, we are very fortunate to have here today with us Professor Dorlando Cutting. And with your permission, Pawanji, if we can get a few words.
Definitely, sir, definitely.
Professor Dorlando has been with us through the entire session. Dorlando ji is a very respected physicist, vice chancellors of universities, and now in the Northeast. Sir, we wish very much to hear a few words from yourself because you've been with us through the whole event. Before I take the floor to add a few more things, particularly, I want to touch particularly a little bit on the World Health Organization's and the Center of Traditional Knowledge that is going to be established in India. Number one, I want to talk a little bit about the issue of the World Health Organization's traditional medicine strategy past 2023. The existing strategy will run out in 2023, and India is in a very strong position to guide where that future is post 2023. I want to talk a little bit about that and the work that Anil ji, Rana ji, Anupam ji, and Debjani ji has provided. It provides global leadership for how we can set standards for traditional systems, traditional medical systems. I want to address a little bit about Harish Verma ji's comment about local setting standards, not just setting standards, for circumscribing the practice that can be followed by a qualified person. And Anil ji mentioned very nicely that it will depend on the local practice, the local standards. And I think there is a lesson here, particularly from Debjani ji's presentation, on how we can circumscribe those skills. So Verma ji, that is in reply to your comment. But first of all, I wish to invite Professor Cutting to share his thoughts and where he feels today's discussions are, where it needs to go in the future. So we invite you to present your thoughts. We feel very fortunate to have you here with us today. We look forward to just listening to a few words. Professor Cutting studied in St. Stephen's College in New Delhi. And then, if I understand correctly, he did his PhD at the Bose Institute. And since then has been doing a lot of work that touches on many, many aspects of mercury in biological products. Professor Cutting has a deep interest in structures of materials, which connects very closely to Bhasmas and that area of Rasaushadhis in Ayurveda. So we feel very fortunate that you have sat with us today and listening to the presentations. We welcome you to the platform and we wish to record your thoughts here, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Madan Tankabelur.
I just want to quickly interrupt. Before I bring you on, I just, for the sake of the audience who may not know, Professor Cutting's father was a Padma Shri and a very important person in Manipur. I think he was the principal secretary for the Manipur government and has a big, long history behind him. So we are so happy to have you here with us. Namaskar.
Thank you so much. But I'm so humbled by your recognition of our university. Perhaps this is not the time for me to be, sharing too much here, because I have come to learn also, and I've learned so much. I'm so happy that we, as a university, a very new university, young university, are taking part in this huge exercise that is going across the country, perhaps or globally as well, to try and bring some sort of standards across, especially in healthcare. And that's why we are so privileged to take part in this exercise that's going on. And the way that this training program, this seminar is going on now also, we are so encouraged that across the board, across the different countries, people are so interested and so involved. Because sometimes when we feel there are not many people around, we get a bit discouraged that we are alone on our own, but we are not alone. We are finding here that we have people all over, and especially people like you are there. So I'm so extremely happy to be just joining in and witnessing and listening. So for me, I'd like to just stick to that. I continue to listen and to learn, and then we're always there as a university. And we'll be most happy for anyone to participate, to help us, to advise us in different areas that you feel that we can contribute. But thank you so much for letting me share a few words. Thank you so much.
Namaskar ji. We are looking forward to learning from yourself about many aspects of the physical sciences, because you have so much mastery in that area. You have published so much, and we look forward to your help and guidance. And I want to take permission also from Pawanji to say that the International Interdisciplinary Institute for Research, Education and Skills wishes very much you to be with us to guide us as we grow this baby initiative in the years to come. Sir.
Thank you. Thanks so
much. Please do stay with us for
I will.
Some more comments and
certainly
comments from our listeners. The first point I want to touch on is ISO 1724. I wasn't aware of this. I don't know if many of the people in the gathering was aware of 17024. As an adjunct professor at the what is today the Transdisciplinary University, I was aware of some of the work that that was offered today. Debjani ji presented today, but I wasn't aware that the connection that is being made with ISO 1724 and the current version, which is the 2012 version, that so much can be done there and so much has already been done in India. So congrats from all of us here, from all the listeners on YouTube listening to this thing live, that so much has already been done. And I think this sets the scene for where India can be the guide past 2023 for the WHO next version of traditional medicine standards for the world. And offline, Anilji, we will discuss this a little bit and everybody else about the scope for this thing. And together with Professor D'Orlando's help, we can shape something for the future. So that is that one point, 17024. I don't think many people in the world know that India has done so much already in this space, and we need to take this out to the world, particularly the low-income countries and other parts of the world, that is Africa, countries of Africa will be looking to this kind of guidance. But for the moment, I feel they don't know how much work senior academics like Debjani ji has already achieved in this space. Please let us connect and see how, particularly the Indian missions in all the countries in Africa, how we can get Ministry of External Affairs to communicate this, the work that is already going on in India, and to bring Africa into our discussions. I particularly look at Africa because it's a continent that has been deprived, and the guidance there can go off in some strange direction. There is a big, I'm going to be very undiplomatic here. There is a very big and unusual America-China influence in that part of the world. And I feel that for the sake of the people may not benefit from that influence. I feel what is being done here by Anil ji, Debjani ji, and Rana ji and others, I think the whole continent of Africa and many parts of Latin America, many countries will benefit greatly from following this model that is being worked on right now. And we need to get this message out to as many people. I connect with our High Commissioner in Kenya. He's a MD who studied in All India Institute of Medical Science, Dr. Paul. I will discuss this issue with Dr. Paul and see how we can take it to the next step together with the Ministry of External Affairs and the Africa department in the ministry. Now, I touched briefly on the WHO Center for Traditional Medicine in India. We need, with Anilji and others, we will see how we can have a closer dialogue with the WHO Center that is coming up in Jamnagar. I also want to say that we should see how we can bring our young students to engage with with this work that is going on. It seems like there is a disconnect here, particularly students in our Ayurveda colleges and Ayurveda universities. We have beautiful universities coming up now in Uttarakhand. Professor Agnihotriji is here with us. And we have Ayush University in Kurukshetra that is coming up very strongly. Punjab has Ayurveda University. We need to see how this message, the excellent work that you people have done, needs to be appreciated by the universities and the agriculture colleges. The point that sir from Chennai mentioned about the vernacular knowledge.
Thirunarayanji, sir.
Thirunarayanji mentioned about the extreme importance, the ultimate importance of the vernacular. Ayurveda is written in Sanskrit, a very refined knowledge, very universal knowledge, but not everybody is able to connect with that refined knowledge, to understand the samhitas, to understand the tikas, to be able to interpret that knowledge. While there is the undocumented stream that Professor Darshan Shankarji always talks about, the undocumented, which is happening, things that are going on in the villages, and that Debjani ji and all of you have started documenting and recognizing. I think there is a divide there, and this recognition is bridging that divide. But I feel that divide should be encouraged, because there are many things that are so tightly connected with the environment. Some plants grow only in certain places. So if we go to Orissa, if we go to different parts of, say, Chhattisgarh, you will never find plants that are found in the south of India. And that knowledge needs to be understood. In one of my visits to Chhattisgarh, I had the opportunity to meet with the then Chief Minister Raman Singh ji, and he arranged for me to go to Bastar district, Bastar, which is the Naxalite area, and went out there. I, in fact, visited the traditional healer, and we went to his house. We sat there, we spent some time with him, saw the patients he was treating, and the relationship that was there between the patient who was on the floor. So the patient had been to the government hospital in Bastar, but then felt it was, an elderly lady, she felt it was not satisfactory. She didn't like the hospital environment. She said, take me back to the village, back to the traditional healer. Now, what I found very interesting there is her husband just came from the field with, a gentleman came with a bunch of leaves. And that relationship was elaborated by the local healer there. He says, you know, our people know which plants to use, where to find them. And that knowledge has not been broken. It is there in the community. So the Vaidya, the local healer, he asked the husband to go and bring some plants because they know it is used traditionally for bone setting. And it was very nice to see how the whole process works. As a community, that knowledge is there in the community. So, and it is so wonderful to see how it is being documented and standards are being set for this. Now, why is this important for India and for the rest of the world? And I want to just cite some figures here, particularly the most recent figure here, which is the budget announcement recently that the Ministry of Ayush will now have a budget of 3,050 crores. Now, for us, this is a big amount. But I want to put some numbers to bring out the context for this, 3,050 crores. Is it a big number? This is only a fraction So this is a budget for the entire nation, 1,000, almost 500 million people now today in India. If we take one single state, the biggest state, most populated state, Uttar Pradesh, has a population right now of about 220 million people. It has 97,000 villages, 95 districts. Now, this is half the population of, almost half the population of all of Europe put together. This is the scope and the challenge that India faces. We have huge number of people and our health budgets are almost non-existent. That health budget, the entire country's health budget, is less than the annual research budget for some of the top pharmaceutical companies. So India is showing the world a very, very important direction. It says we need a different approach to health. And health has to be distinguished from healthcare and disease care. And India needs to guide the world in a new way. And particularly, I raised this point, particularly here in the presence of Professor Karthing, senior academic who has perhaps more contact than all of us into several agencies, just to highlight a point, sir, which is that the community, as you can see here, we are very excited and we want to be a major force in shaping those discussions in the future. And this platform, Pawanji and colleagues who offer us this platform, we wish very much for this platform to be a place where we can share knowledge, share information, have senior people like yourselves communicate with us. We are very fortunate today to have here Dr. Sharma, who's joining us from Mauritius. So and Harish Ji joining us from Toronto. So, sir, this is point just to say that we are becoming that global community, a global community where the most important element is information sharing and information presentation of valuable information. And Pawanji and his colleagues have been recording all of these presentations. They're all archived now for anybody to come and do a review. And these are new opportunities, new standards that the world never realized could happen. But clearly we are entering that new phase. I use the term the fifth industrial revolution, where we will see new formulas coming out. The person, maybe the person in Bastar will be the person who will connect on the internet and share knowledge with the rest of the world. And we want to be able to facilitate that, those kind of opportunities. I feel privileged that Pawanji has almost come up to the 300th such webinar, and he has brought along with him so many people from around the country, senior people, junior Vaidyas, and people from around the world he has brought onto this platform. I feel this is the beginning of that fifth industrial revolution where knowledge will be shared, we will discuss openly, refine standards, arrive at new approaches for delivering one Earth, one health agenda for the world. One Earth, one health agenda for the world. And in that scenario, India will become a leader in defining new standards for health, defining new standards for healthcare, and defining new standards for the entire world in how we should appreciate health. Health is different from healthcare, which is different from disease care. And there are three terms that are very, very important to understand. India is in a very strong position now to shine the light on the world about health, and from health, how we can maintain health, prevent disease, promote health. There are many, many problems in the world today where there are serious challenges. Simple problem like obesity in school children is a major problem here.
Yes, sir.
Infertility is a major problem. Hypertension is a major problem. And these are all areas where we look forward to new standards, more discussions. So with those few words, Pawanji, I want to first of all thank Professor Karthing thank you for staying here with us and listening to our words.
I would like to welcome Dr. Kathing. Please, if I am audible to you, kindly unmute your speaker and bless us by your inspirational speech.
Thank you so much again. Thank you.
We look forward to your guidance, sir, for all the work, and particularly in the Northeast region, which is rich in flora. We as a community, we would like.
And traditional healers are more in Northeast.
So we look forward to being with you, sir, and we look forward very much that you will guide us as this journey continues.
Yeah, I need your guidance.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. So Pawanji, with those few words, I want to thank all the speakers today. Anilji, Debjani, Ranaji, thank you so much for being with us. And Anupam Srivastav, thank you so much. And there will be many, many questions here from our speakers. Pawanji, I will leave this with you to see how you offer time.
Thank you.
We always seem to go beyond the time limit, but our discussions are always very enriching, and they're invaluable because we are
right, sir.
Managed to bring people together and share these ideas. So I leave it with you. Namaskar ji.
Namaskar. Sir, Professor Dorlando. Professor Dorlando, sir.
Yes, please.
Yes. Please.
I have already spoken already, so thank you so much. I think, please carry on, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So now I would like to request Dr. Ish from Mauritius, because he is the chair in the university there. Dr. Ish Sharma, Professor Dr. Ish Sharma.
Thank you very much, Pawanji.
Welcome.
Big thanks to you. And this has been altogether a different experience with such a stellar speakers and authorities. It was like a delight listening, and this was most unexpected and really enriching. And short courses really have got the biggest scope, which is underrated, which really holds very huge potential, because when it comes to international levels, everyone might not undergo a 6 hours of rigorous, like 6 days a week training kind of like BMS kind of training. So we have to develop very short courses which can be really applicable, which can make all the world Atmanirbhar when it comes to the healthcare. At least they might not be looking for a job, but they might be keeping themselves healthy, which is which would be a great gift for them. So we really, this huge potential is yet to be tapped and unearthed. So I'll really be very happy to be a part. I'm already proposing many courses at Mauritius, and we are targeting all the 58 African countries. And I'm already in touch with Dr. Anupam. I'll get back to him again. How can we launch the predefined, the existing courses in Mauritius and African countries? So surely holds a very huge potential, and I'm delighted and very happy to be in this seminar today. Thank you, Pawanji. Over to you.
Dr. Sharma, you are here with us. I'm so happy because you are representing much of Ayurveda in Mauritius. Some of the points you touched on about the need for local knowledge, because in Mauritius you will need to understand French, you need to be able to talk to the community, and also the vernacular that was raised earlier today. Your comment connects very nicely with Harish Ji's Toronto. Harish Ji, I don't know if Harish Ji wants to add a little bit about the need for clarity in what it is that a licensed Ayurveda practitioner, so the thinking that Harish Ji has is that there is a need. So RAV is setting some standards here, which is mostly to look at the standards for the institutions that want to deliver Ayurvedic training. I think Harish Ji's question is at an interface between these two, and so between the community and between the standards, saying, what are those? Is India in a position? So Anilji and Anupamji and Ranaji, is India in a position to define the standards for a licensed Ayurveda or a licensed Siddha practitioner or a licensed Unani practitioner? Because there is a confusion. There is only so much that a person, you have been to university, you have done a first degree for 7 years, somebody an MD for 3 years or 3.5 years, so you have 10 years of formal education, versus trying to bring Ayurveda to the community outside India. How to circumscribe the areas where somebody who says, I understand a little bit about Brahmivati, I know how to and when to prescribe this. I also know when not to prescribe this and what are the. So when we go into those specifics, Brahmivati or Triphala or Trikatu or something like this that is available, everybody is hearing about it, Ashwagandha Churna, whatever it is, Ganavati, whatever it is that is there, those technicalities that might be beyond the reach of Anil ji or Rana ji. I don't know, Anupam ji is an Ayurveda graduate, so he will be able to catch some of this. How to bring that dialogue initially. So Harish ji has some thoughts in his mind about what is specific for Canada. Now, what is specific for Canada will not be good for Mauritius because your language is different, your Desha Kala is different. Now, and what is good for Mauritius, you are reaching out to Africa, but it might not work for all of Africa because they're also, it's a continent that is spanning 2 sides of the equator. So that is also a complicated problem. So if I discuss with Dr. Paul, our High Commissioner in Nairobi, that might only be good for Kenya or for East Africa, 3-4 countries there, but will not be good for West Africa, will not be good for North Africa. So there is a tension here. And I think I just want to document that tension here. And I want to thank Harish ji, because we discuss almost on a daily basis, and also senior Vaidyas like Rajan Patangar ji in Mumbai, 3rd, 4th generation Vaidyas, both of them. They bring a lot of knowledge into this area. They like Sharma ji, 4th generation Vaidya, father's side, mother's side, they bring a lot of knowledge into this area. Even with that knowledge originates in India. It is based on the Indian situation. How do we resolve the tension? I don't think it will come out in today's discussion, but Harish ji has flagged this point very nicely. Harish ji, perhaps I feel what Ish ji has given us today is very important. I feel in our future discussions, Ish ji will give us the dimension about Africa. But Pawan ji, I know we are running out of time, but it's a very important opportunity because we have very senior people here with us. Harish ji, a few words to see if you have had some new thoughts since you raised that point.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. In fact, I have gone through the document at RAB website about the accreditation and all. Give me some time, but I am of the opinion that Ayurveda is a subject which is not a theoretical subject. It's a practical subject. And if we can think of designing a course for Ayurveda practitioner, because the word Ayurveda practitioner, the designation or the degree or whatever we can call, this is now recognized in Canada. They are recognizing Ayurveda practitioner under practitioners of natural healing. So if we can design a curriculum, common curriculum for the Ayurveda practitioner in West, that will be a good idea. On one side, we can design a curriculum for becoming a Ayurveda practitioner in West. That is one point. Second, at the same time, RAB should do some efforts to connect with the local organizations so that if they need any help, they can approach the local government to get Ayurveda regulated in the local area. Like as you are mentioning in Africa and Mauritius, in UK, US, Canada, and all these things, all these countries, RAB can play a vital role. I approached a few officers here, health officers here, and I told them that we want to get Ayurveda regulated in Canada or in Ontario. They said, why you need regulation? What wrong things you are doing? They said, we believe Ayurveda is very good for everyone. Why you need inspectors on you? Why you need inspectors on other practitioners? Are you doing something wrong? That was the question. So it was very critical question. I couldn't answer at that point. So we need help from the RAV that they should form a international committee, and how people can approach the local government or the authorities, that how they can get Ayurveda regulated in their respective countries. So simultaneous efforts should be there, because I believe it's just a beginning, and it's a beginning of recognition of Ayurveda in the world. So RAV can play a vital role, regulation on one side, and curriculum, designing the curriculum on other side. The point which I raised about scope of practice, particularly when I saw the first document, Panchkarma, and I saw the prerequisite, that was the point. But we will discuss more on this platform about this. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Madan ji.
Hanji, please.
I'd just like to add, this is a very interesting topic. I think merits a separate session altogether. I just want to add to whatever information has been shared here. The Department of Commerce is engaged in trade negotiations with, at this point of time, 6 countries on a priority, which are UK, European Commission, Australia, UAE, Canada, and one more, US, in various stages. And one of the areas they have picked up, and I am helping Commerce, I am regularly in touch with them, a part of these negotiations, support team for these negotiations. One of the areas they have actually decided to have, negotiate on is Ayurveda, both products and service. Also acceptance of Ayurveda doctors from India, or the degree, let's not say doctors, BAMS degree, acceptance of BAMS degree for allowing practice there. As an alternate, I was in India-US negotiations way back in 2015, where I was part of a session in which it was said that in US, and I'm not sure if that applies to every other country, but certainly in US it was said that a registered practitioner there, an allopathic doctor, is allowed to practice alternative medicine. So the question was, can there be allopathic doctors in US who can be certified with certain knowledge of Ayurveda that they can practice? And in fact, I made a proposition after coming from 2015. I made a proposition to Department of Ayush at that time to have a project on certifying Ayurveda practitioners outside India. Within India, it needs a BAMS degree. It's illegal, but outside India. And actually that project has led to finally RAV being designated as accreditation agency. And if you see the mandate, it's both training as well as certification of professionals. So we are yet to come to that professionals part of it. And now that I am in the board also of ATAB and in the technical committee, sooner or later we should start the part of professionals being certified. So there is something going on. I think it needs a discussion, a separate discussion. Maybe a session can be organized. I'll be very happy to participate because I'm in some way involved with commerce, and these things are being talked about.
Thank you, Anilji. You've given us
definitely, sir. We will definitely organize that session. Definitely.
You have given us some very fine details today. I hope Pawanji will bring us together again, just to be on that specific topic about minimum standards for training, and also how to come up with some standards that are directed from India, because that is, I think Harishji's comment is that Ayurveda said all these systems are Indian systems. The primary literature is there, the history is there, the pedigree is there, and the deeper understanding of that knowledge is there. So clearly that must be home. That must be the home from where standards are set. And we look forward to your guidance, Anilji, and to the large team that you have behind you. We look forward to your help and guidance. Namaskar.
Right. Now I would like to request Mr. Vijayan SD. He has raised his hand. If any question is there, kindly, yes, please.
Namaskar to all.
Namaskar.
Actually, I wanted to just say hello to all. So I'm not very technical savvy. So I pressed the wrong button.
Vijayanji, namaskar. Thank you for joining us. Vijayanji is running valuable projects connecting environment and health. And I don't know where Vijayanji is today. Maybe he's in Delhi, maybe he's in Bangladesh or in Nepal.
No, I'm very much in Delhi. But
in Delhi.
In few days I will be in Bangladesh. And maybe in 4 or 5 days.
Vijayanji, अगर आपसे 2 मिनट में जी थोड़ा बताओ जी वो बांग्लादेश में आप लोग के काम what is it? नहीं
No, Bangladesh.
थोड़ा सा क्योंकि you have taken the time
just 2 minutes only. Just we are working for the environment through religious platforms. I'm taking control of all the religious platforms there, like 40,000 temples, 4 lakhs approximately this mosques, and then church, Gurdwara, Pagoda, everything there. Whatever is religious platform, we are taking care. And we will be connecting all those platforms with environment, education, employment, health, sports, and culture. That we are taking from the government. And I have already taken control of the 3 Shakti Pithas there. And 4 more are there. So 7 we will be taking. And then after we will be doing work for Hindu Dharma also there. And Muslims are doing puja in Shakti Pith for me. That's a good thing there.
Great, sir. Great. Salute. Yes. Now I would like to request if any question is there. I hope very clearly explained, so there should not be any question. Then also, if any question is there from audience.
Vishnupriya ji, Pawan ji, I take the liberty of asking if Vishnupriya ji can just give us 1 minute.
मैं विष्णु प्रसाद शर्मा जी को बुलाना चाहता था.
हाँ जी, विष्णुप्रिया जी थोड़ा सा अगर आपकी गोवा से अगर थोड़ा सा 1-2 मिनट आपसे थोड़ा. Vishnupriya ji is a very practical person. She's interested in education standards. She's professor and head of department there. Vishnupriya ji, namaskar ji.
Yeah, sir, namaste.
Namaste ji.
Yeah.
Please, ji. We are listening to you. We just want a few words from you about where you think today's discussion is.
Yeah, today we have an opportunity to put our concepts. Yes, sir. My namaste to all the dignitaries present today. Because today actually we have that to connect our own idea and to put our request. All the authority officially present here, and that's a bridge we are expecting to communicate. And we also take a promise that how we can be contributed to the whole globe, putting due regards to the subject of Ayurveda. Ayurveda has reached, but it should reach with its own identity and sake of progressive development of human civilization. It shouldn't be for so many personal benefit. So I hope whatever the effort has taken by Sharma sir and you personally, that is going to reach, and it should again enrich with all sorts of applications. So this is it is looking like so it's growing up now, and I hope everybody is listening to you all. That's why everybody is extending the helping hand. So definitely whatever the truth, it will be definitely received by everybody else. It may take some effort, and a sincere dedications. So nothing more to
Thank you.
Thank
Excellent,
you.
madam. Thank you very much. Now I would like to request Professor Vishnu Prasad Sharma ji for his valuable comments before Professor Agnihotri ji for concluding remarks. So BP Sharma, Vishnu Prasad Sharma ji, former principal, Guwahati Ayurvedic College and President, Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad, Assam.
Namaskar. Good evening to everybody. Dear distinguished speaker and learned audience, it was a pleasure listening to such an insightful talk from eminent speaker. All the speaker has presented their talk very nicely. Again, I want to tell you that Northeastern region is full of herbs. In most of the Northeastern region, people take mostly herb. Later, if disease is not subsided, then go for the other therapy like allopathy or this thing. To maintain health in Northeastern region, people consume more herbs. For example, in Nagaland, hypertension cases are less because they consume nefafu leaf. And we did experimental and clinical. It shows that it reduces the hypertension. And again, in this place also, if anybody's have jaundice, hepatitis, people first take this herbal treatment. In our Northeastern region, more traditional healers are there. They showed very good treatment, not only in disease, in fracture also. 2-3 traditional healers are there. They got more patient. And they do treatment only herbs. And I agree with Harish Verma, what he says regarding regulation and these things. If we follow any, this such type of regulation has come, syllabus has come, then it will be good. So thank you. Namaskar to all. Namaste, Pawan ji.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable comments. That the respected Vaidya Rajan Patankar ji has raised the hand. I would like to invite him.
सिर्फ एक ही मिनट बोलूंगा क्योंकि
आराम से सर।
बहुत टाइम भी हो चुका है। तो एक ही बात कहनी थी कि महाराष्ट्र में एक सिलेबस बनाया गया है ग्राम सेवक योजना के लिए और वो अभी भी शुरू है। तो उनमें आयुर्वेद के जो भी ग्रेजुएट्स है वो अलग अलग जगह पे जाकर के उनको ट्रेनिंग देते हैं कि और अच्छी तरह से वो प्रैक्टिस कैसे कर सके। और ये करीबन आरएसएस के माध्यम से गए बहुत सालों से ये योजना शुरू है और जो भी कोई आदिवासी क्षेत्र है उसमें इसको उनको फायदा बहुत मिल रहा है। उसमें 1-2 बार मैं भी उनको ट्रेनिंग दे चुका हूँ। तो इसके लिए वो अगर ऐसे हर जगह पे और उनका एक सिलेबस भी रेडी है कि वह उनको कहाँ तक ट्रेनिंग देना है, क्योंकि जो बेसिक ट्रेनिंग है उसमें अगर उनको और भी एफिशिएंसी लाई जाए या और भी फाइननेस लाए जाए, ये प्रकार से सिलेबस सेटअप किया गया है। थैंक यू। आज का सभी जो वेबिनार था बहुत ही एक्सेलेंट। सो थैंक्स टू ऑल। और पवन जी को फिर एक बार नमस्कार। उनका जो प्रयास है शुरू 300 नहीं 500 तक जाएंगे ये साल के पहले जरूर। थैंक यू सर।
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the information. I hope every authority is listening that and we can get that syllabus also. I don't hope any question is there. So I would like to request Professor V.K. Agnihotri ji, former head of the Department of Swasthya, Uttarakhand Ayurveda University, for his remarks. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Pawan Sharma ji. Our best regards and respect to all the today's guest speakers, the Government of India representatives, our academicians, our researchers and clinicians, and all the learned experienced persons participated today's webinar. In the simplest and shortest words, if I would like to say regarding the today's speaker, I, with all happiness, like to submit that they were not the speakers. They are the knowledge tanks. They poured the full of the knowledge with all the modality, right from the smallest to biggest, biggest to smallest point they discussed. The very attractive introduction put forward by Anil Joshi sir for Anupam Srivastav. It was really a learning how to appreciate the persons, those who are close to us, and share the love and affection to the quality they are bearing with them. So Dr. Anupam Srivastav disclosed all the smallest and biggest possibilities for running or taking the accreditation and certification regarding the traditional medicine. And he especially underlined the point that office assessment and the written assessment, these are two important points which should be carried out. Then only a person who is applying for this could be given the such type of accreditation or certification. Dr. B.K. Rana Saab elaborately discussed all the things which are needed. And what underlined point he made is the code of conduct. Especially the code of conduct and the discipline. Those students who are interested, sometimes they means deposit the fee, but they leave the that sort of course because of the length or maybe understandable to them or not, say 100 hours or 500 hours whatsoever. So the institutes and the platforms which are sending to them, they should be taken care of, that the participant must be eager to get knowledge, and then after the assessment they may be given the certificate for the further use. Madam Debjani also put forward a very important, rather a new chapter, a new experience regarding the Gram Ved. Wonderful. It is a sector which is to be discussed in the terms of, in the reference of the traditional medicine. I do remember that, say, 9 to 10 years back, in our Uttarakhand, there was a workshop of 3 days with the invitation to the persons, those who are unqualified, but having the traditional knowledge for treating the rural or countryside patient with the herbal or the herbo-mineral preparations, along with the cases like snake bite. And that was headed under the secretary, Dr. Bhupendra Kaur Alak, who herself was MBBS doctor. And we, some doctors from medicine, means Kai Chikitsa, Rashtriya Shastra, Devagun, they were invited as experts to escalate the knowledge they were using or the expertise they are making. So we all, and it was organized in FRI, Dehradun. So we all attended, and they were almost more than 100 in number. 3 days they came forward with their preparations, some leaves and something, and we were amazed to see that how they are claiming with these herbs and preparation, though they are not even high school pass, they were not matriculate. A few were graduate also. So I don't know what is the report and where is that report in the government sector, might be in the Ayush Ministry in our state. How these persons having the skill of treating can be channelized with a though they were given the participation certificate, but I don't know whether their knowledge is being channelized to any extent or not. So this is one thing I think parallel to Gram Ved, which Madam was talking about. And our Thirumalai Swamiji also put forward a very important point that the knowledge of Ayurveda should be made in several languages, translated form, so that the hidden fact may be utilized in a better way, not only in India, throughout the world. So these things were there, and the questions were also very important, right? From Dr. Hari Sharma to our Ved Rajan Patankarji, every person who involved, I found today it was a deep rooted webinar which covered all the sectors. And our Madan sir is always our father figure to chair over the webinar, and whatever the minutest point is being put forward by anybody that is being elaborated, his quality of involving himself and involving all the participants is really to be followed. I'm really a great fan of him, and Dr. Pawan Sharma is just one run short to 300. So he is going to complete on tomorrow with a International Carcinoma Day. So I think our all good wishes to Pawan Sharma sir and his great ability.
For us, sir, for us. Without your blessings, without Madan sir, Vishnu sir, Patankar sir, सभी लोग लगे हुए हैं हम लोग. Really.
Sir, today our webinar is being blessed with Professor Donaldo, who is also enjoying the Padma Shri, and this is also a great effort of our Madan sir. So really our webinar and your this society is being witnessed in the history of Ayurvedic research and Ayurvedic academy. So all greetings to you. Thank you. Over to Pawan Sharma sir.
मेरी एक ही गड़बड़ है सर, मैं मदन सर से सभी से क्षमा चाहता हूँ कि मैं 9, 9:30 पे गुटुप करके सो जाता हूँ और सुबह 3 बजे उठ जाता हूँ, तो बस वो खाने का समय उतना ही मिलता है, इसीलिए समय की कोई चिंता नहीं है, समय आराम से खींचा जा सकता है.
वीडियो आप
प्रैक्टिस होती जा रही है मेरे को. थैंक यू मदन सर.
ये अग्निहोत्री जी ने सही कहा कि वीडियो ऑफ करके खाना
बोलाएंगे लास्ट में. थैंक यू अनुपम जी, थैंक यू अनिल जौहरी जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच, थैंक यू देवजानी जी, थैंक यू तिरुमलाई स्वामी जी, थैंक यू ऑल. Really, it was not possible without your blessings. So,
thank you, Sharma ji. Thank you.
Namaskar.
Thank you, namaskar. Thank you from RV team. Thank you.
Namaskar ji. Namaskar to all.
Rana ji, namaskar.
Namaskar, sir.
Thank you, Rana ji. Thank you.
Thank you. Dhanyawad.